What's going on, everybody? I appreciate all of you that were hanging out waiting for the live stream to start. As you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we've got sequel to our designer video similar to this that we did on Justin's channel. I do have Justin hanging out. We'll bring him on in just a second. But before we jump into that, for those of you watching the replay, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, turn on all notifications, and most importantly, enable YouTube notifications so you'll be alerted when we do live streams like this. So let's jump right into it. I'm rocking Shiaka Blue finally. I know a lot of you have been interested to hear my thoughts on it, so I have been doing some test sprays, doing a full wearing today. Probably going to film a video on it tonight. So I am digging it, I have to say. It's kind of like if Jean-Paul Gaultier's Scandal was more of a blue fragrance. It's kind of what this is. So I'll bring on the man of the hour, Mr. Justin Copeland. How are you, sir?
I'm well. How about yourself, man?
Just noticed we have 77 people in less than a minute and a half. That's never happened before. That's impressive.
Wow.
Yeah, we had 77 people before the timer hit 1 minute and 30 seconds. That's crazy. So I appreciate all of you wanting to see this. This is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah,
We've got
man.
68 fragrances between the two of us. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask, what are you wearing today, sir?
Well, I'm wearing one of the fragrances I'll be featuring
Mm-hmm.
in the video. So
I did that last time.
Yeah, I'm conflicted if I want to share it or if I want to just wait.
Hold off till we
I'll just wait.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
So, in fact, why don't you do the honors and go ahead and start us off? But before you do that, I want to let everybody know, just so for those of you that are just tuning in. So we did this with designer fragrances on Justin's channel about 2 weeks or so, maybe 3 weeks ago at the latest. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
And he and I like to rotate back and forth. If we do something on his channel, next time we do it here, which is pretty much what's happening. So we've got 3 houses each. The niche fragrances that we have the most, niche houses that we have the most fragrances from, just like we did with designers. And as we go along, you guys will see a couple of the houses, 3 of the houses are in the thumbnail. So start us off, sir.
Yes, indeed. I think I'm going to start with probably the most obvious house when you think of niche perfumery. I mean, nowadays you could call it maybe mainstream luxury perfumery. And that's going to be Creed. As with many of us, Creed was really my introduction into what could be known as niche perfumery. And it served as a great one. It kind of blew my mind in certain ways. I was exposed to, some more natural smelling fragrances, some more unique scent profiles, and just things that didn't smell like anything I would have ever perceived. The first one being the most obvious, which is Creed Aventus. We'll get this out of the way, of which I have 2 bottles. This is my original bottle. This is a 2016 batch for those of you who care. I do not care, but it is a 2016 batch.
Preach.
And I'm just being real. It's a fruitier batch for those who follow the batches and whatever, but it's a gorgeous batch and I really enjoyed wearing it. It's my most worn fragrance to date. Even though I don't really wear it that much these days, I might spray it once or twice a year, not even just on my skin. But it's one of my, again, first forays into niche perfumery. So I have a special connection with it. And again, I have a lot of time wearing it. This bottle was sent to me by Creed on their 10th anniversary of Aventus. And to put it bluntly, this is a shadow of what Aventus was. This is like bergamot and musk. That's kind of what it smells like to me, unfortunately. But it's still Aventus-ish. Okay. From there, we'll move on to another classic. And I always get people asking me about this bottle because it is an older style bottle. And people are like, oh, what fragrance is that? Like, what Creed is that? And this is Green Irish Tweed. And this is the old 75 milliliter bottle, which is not made anymore, with this little like felt kind of.
It's so weird to see Green Irish Tweed like that.
It is, yeah. And it's kind of normal for me because I've never had a black bottle. The black bottle is basically this without the Aventus label.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is I think it's a 2013
Yeah,
bottle,
it's old.
Maybe. And I couldn't tell you if it performs different. It is very robust. It's very, very green. I think it has a little bit more of a powdery, dusty quality as a result of it being stronger, perhaps. But it's still very fresh. It's dewy. There's still that iris in there, and there's that nice ambergris muskiness that is very signature. And one of the best dry downs, honestly, in all of Creed. Like one of the best dry downs that just kind of gets sexy and it's clean and then it's sexy. It's amazing.
One of the best signature scents for men ever created.
Agreed. Timeless. 1985 doesn't really smell like it.
Heavily
Smells like
replicated,
any
but none
time.
of them do quite the same job.
Agreed. Agreed. Okay, let's move on to this guy. You don't see a lot of people talking about this one these days. Original Santal. Yet again, an older bottle. This is the 75 milliliter. And this is a 2011 bottle, if you can believe it. I don't even remember how I found this. I can't remember if I bought it secondhand. I feel like I may have bought it new from Fragrance Net like 5 or 6 years ago, and it just so happened to be this old ass bottle. So I'm like, they didn't know what they had. I don't know.
Well, even a couple of years ago, you could still get 4-ounce bottles from them. That was
you're right.
4 years ago.
Totally. So that makes sense. But if you guys haven't smelled this one, you know, a lot of people have said many different things about it. People say, oh, it's basically Mont Blanc Individuel. It's basically Yop Homme. And it kind of is. It's kind of both of those, but it does have the Creed flair. Yeah, that does have that Creed flair. The ingredients are quality here, not to say the others aren't, but it just comes together very smoothly. It's kind of fruity raspberry. It's kind of clean lavender, laundry-ish smelling. There is this creamy sandalwood, a little bit of vanilla, tonka bean, and maybe a touch of juniper berry, adding some more freshness and sharpness. It's great. It's like a beautiful signature, and this bottle does perform. I remember spraying it on one time, walking into the bank, and within being in the bank for like 10, 15 seconds, some guy like 30 feet away was like, hey, your perfume smells great. I'm like, oh, thanks.
Big fan myself. This is my decant, relatively new batch. Still a solid performer. I will have a 50 ml bottle at some point. I'm kind of going smaller bottles now, but this is so underappreciated. Like you were saying about Individuel, and can they do the same job? For the most part, sure, but the quality is not even remotely close to the same. I had to weigh in because I'm a big fan of Original Santal. I think it's super underappreciated.
I feel the same way, and it's kind of the reason why I don't have an Individuel anymore, because I started reaching for this more, and I never had Yop Homme, and I don't really feel the need.
I don't like Yop Homme,
but yeah, it is what it is.
It's a chemical mess, in my opinion. Yes, sorry, I said it.
It's a chemical classic. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, moving forward with another favorite, Silver Mountain Water. And this is a newer-ish bottle. This is when they switched to the 50. And I like this fragrance a lot. I feel like I had decants years back that were more robust. This bottle might last me 5 or 6. It's okay. It's fine. I don't really care that much. But for those who do care, the newer bottles, at least in my experience, don't seem to do quite as well in terms of performance. But that's okay. It's still the character. It's still super cooling and fresh. It's cold. It smells like ice or snow or cold mountain air. And, a lot of you guys have already tried it, I'm sure. But I think it's timeless, especially for when it came out. I think it was in the 90s, which is just so odd. And it smells like they could have released it this year. Honestly, I truly believe that. It's a timeless profile.
Just real quick in between, I want to thank Volcanus for the $10 super chat. I want to thank Christian Argos here with the $5 super chat. I greatly appreciate it. Fun fact for everybody: personal friends of ours, we intentionally left out of this, so you won't see Argos, you won't see Zaharoff, you won't see Kajal here today, because we felt it was because you guys see those on our channel all the time. I think of it because Christian popped up on the screen. We love these brands. We love the gentleman behind it. That goes without saying. It's all over our channel. So we wanted to feature some other niches that we kind of have a lot of bottles of today. So just a little fun fact I wanted to, share with you guys while I saw Christian pop up. Thank you so much for the super chat, Christian.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry to interrupt you, Justin.
No, you're good. I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is.
I should have mentioned it from the start, but when I saw Christian pop up, I was like, oh yeah, by the way, this was intentional that we did it this way.
For sure. So. Yeah, all good. Okay, here's another classic. I have 2 bottles of this, both older bottles, Millésime Impérial. So we got the
There's
big
people that would
120.
kill you for those bottles.
I know, man. I got the big 120. This bottle, I don't know if you remember a reviewer that has not made videos in years. I'm forgetting the exact name of his channel, but he was a college student, and I think he was in law school maybe, and his channel name was something along the line of like College Sense, or I don't exactly remember now. He was
talking about.
I need to figure it out now, but he's a fun kid and he had a fun channel. And I bought this from him years back. This was probably, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. And this is a 2016 bottle. It's a great batch. It performs well. It again has that thickness that you kind of expect from some of the older batches of Creed, not like transparent and light and watery like some of the newer ones, not all of them, but some. This bottle I actually also got from Fragrance Net. They just had this little 30 ml sitting around. This might also be a 2013 bottle.
That's
this
impressive.
little 30 ml. And this stuff, I mean, this is old style atomizer with the Creed on top.
It's crazy to think with that 30 ml would go for resale right now.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I don't even know, but
people hunt down grail batches, as they're called, of Aventus. Millseam Imperial's the same way.
Yes, exactly. And this stuff, it shows the robustness of this batch is undeniable. This stuff is like, it's strong. It's like, oh, okay, there's a difference here. My 2016 is strong, but the 2013 is like, you've been doing push-ups like that. That thing is like the arm wrestle match. It will win every time.
It follows the Justin Copeland bodyweight workout regimen.
Yeah, pretty much. Here's another lesser talked about classic from the 1990s, Royal Water.
Oof.
50 ml bottle.
I have to
here,
say, you have some really, really good ones from the house.
I have some ones that aren't really talked about all that much for whatever
Royal
reason.
Water is another one super underappreciated. Such a good freshie.
I'll never forget when I first smelled this, I fell in love with this fragrance. I don't even know why, but it just pulled me in. I don't really reach for it all that much anymore, but every time I come back to it, I'm reminded of just how much, how special it is for being so simple. It's just like juniper berry, citruses, musk, and like maybe basil or something like that. It's got an herbal feel. It's cold and fresh. As it dries, it smells a little bit mature, almost, kind of that early 90s, late 80s dated feel, gentlemanly but clean. Not necessarily fougere, but definitely a little bit more of an older, sophisticated feel. So not every guy's going to dig this. Not quite as mature as like Bois de Portugal, which I don't have, but it's leaning maybe in that direction, but cleaner and fresher for sure.
Much fresher for sure.
Yeah. Let's see here. We got a few more. We'll go with this one. This was, believe it or not, one of the first fragrances I smelled from Creed behind Aventus. And this one is Vetiver Geranium. This is actually my scent of the day. And I've actually worn this quite a bit, and I didn't realize it until I decided to do a count of some of the summer fragrances I've worn the most, and this is one of them. I just used Parfumo, and I saw like, man, I've clocked in some wears with this.
And that dent's actually a lot of sprays.
Yeah, because it goes wide to narrow. So, I've done some sprays with this guy, and I know it pretty well. I did a review on it, a terrible review back in the day, but it was fun. And I love the scent. And again, it's one that not everyone talks about. This line is not quite as popular, and I get it. It's a little lighter in general, and maybe a little bit less complex, so people don't feel like maybe they get their money's worth. But it's also a little cheaper too than the original line as well. But this one is it's a beautiful mix of kind of a clean woody vetiver, but it's mostly cedar wood. That's the woody aspect. It's dry and just, kind of grounds the scent. On top of that is this fresh minty rosy geranium with a fruity apple working together. It's a little powdery, but mostly minty. And you have some cinnamon in there too, adding some warm spice. It's a gorgeous scent. It just smells kind of posh, kind of like, you'd like kind of wear it in a white suit with no tie, which I never do, but it kind of has that feel. There's a little bit more of a upscale, but not formal feel. But nonetheless, it's kind of unique. It's cool. I dig it, and I'm coming back to it this summer because I haven't worn it in a while. So I'm
Fun fact, you've
Yeah.
heard me say the ones that smell like roach spray on me, right? The first one I ever learned smells like roach spray on my skin, vetiver geranium.
Roach
It's
spray.
awful on my skin.
Oh man.
On test strip in the air, sure, fine. It does not react well with my skin chemistry. It's me.
Interesting.
It doesn't smell like that on the test strip. It doesn't smell
Yeah.
like that on others. I've smelled it on
Yeah.
other people.
Mm-hmm.
Awful on my skin. That's where I got
Interesting.
the whole roach spray thing from, was that fragrance.
Do you think it could be geranium, or geranium's usually okay for you?
It's usually geranium I'm okay with for the most part. Cheaper geraniums I have more of a risk with than a quality geranium. It's something about the vetiver, I think, or just the combination of the formula just doesn't work with my skin. I really wanted to like that one. That's the main fragrance that scared me away. That and Terre d'Hermès scared me away from vetiver for a while.
Okay, it's so funny, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
I was
it's all
just
different.
smiling with a shit-eating grin while you're talking about it. Like,
Yeah,
I can't wait
man.
to tell them no.
Bringing in that rain cloud. I appreciate it. No, it's all good.
Skin chemistries are different for everyone.
It is.
It probably is gorgeous on your skin. It's not on mine.
I mean, I love it. It gets really woody on my skin. It's a little sweet and fresh with the mintiness, but mostly that cedar wood comes out more as it dries pretty quick. Okay. A lot of hate for this one. A lot of hate for Viking.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
You know
From
what?
where? Who? I'm gonna punch him. Who?
That's
crazy. That's crazy.
You know, and I think the reason why is because of the timing. It being the next release after Aventus was maybe not the greatest placement for it. I think it's helped to get some years between when it was released and now, because some views of it have changed since then.
That is my favorite Creed fragrance.
But it's a great scent. Now I get what people say. It's like, oh, it's Old Spice. It's like Tiger Balm.
Here's my resident niche snob weighing in.
I absolutely hate
Divine's
Viking.
my resident niche snob.
Oh yeah. I
love
I know Divine. Yeah. I love Viking. It is this very fresh, spicy, but also kind of hot, spicy fougere. So there's a mature feeling to it. It is a little old school feeling. Lavender and sandalwood and patchouli and lots of citruses, and there's a pink pepper that just kind of burns. But it's great. I think it's super classy. Super classy. What goes along with that, we got just maybe two more from Creed, is its little cologne, which I have a funny relationship with, Viking cologne. When I first smelled this, I was scratching my head. I was like, what is this? This smells like toilet cleaner.
Oh, you and Grace had me cracking up, had me nervous about that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Corbin, he let me borrow his bottle. When he got it, I did a first impressions video on that. And I was like, what is this? This smells like Clorox. Like, what is this? It did not work. It smelled weird. It didn't really smell like Viking at all. So I kind of just said, whatever. And then Creed actually reached out and said, hey, want to send you Viking? They must not have seen my video. So I'm like, a Viking cologne. I'm like, yeah, sure. So they sent it over and I sprayed it and I'm like, okay, it's the same thing. Maybe this is just Viking cologne. I let it sit for like 6 months. It matured and then it changed. It completely changed. And my test was Grace, because I put it in a summer video, and I sprayed it and she was like, this is fantastic. What is this? Whereas before, every time she smelled it, she was like, this is gross. It smells like dirty dishwater. So and I was like, and she said that blindly. She's like, oh, this is amazing. I'm like, you sure? She's like, yeah. I'm like, it's this. She's like, oh, that's a totally different fragrance than it was. And then I put it on my skin. I'm like, it changed. So you hear this with Creed a lot. Sometimes you do have to let them sit in the dark for half a month, half a year to a year. And it made a big difference. I love this stuff. It's kind of a more youthful take on the Viking.
I think it's a little bit greener. A little bit greener.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. It is fresher. It's cooler. Maybe more approachable in some ways.
Centered around the pink pepper.
Agreed. And so it does smell less, older guys, so to speak, not that vintage Viking smell.
I tried it at Neiman's and the Creed rep sprayed it on paper and I was like, this don't smell like toilet water. They're crazy. I said, you mind spraying my hand? I swear to God, I was thinking of you and Grace, though, because y'all made me nervous because I trust y'all. And it just shows it sometimes they have to grow on you, because from the start, I think I called you and I'm like, y'all are fucking crazy.
No, man,
Great.
it was the bottle. You know, if
Yeah.
they sprayed that tester bottle, they was sitting there for a second.
Yeah,
That's
it
all it
was
was.
macerated. It had like a bit that big in the bottle for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I think
Yeah.
that bottle
It
was
was
ready
great.
for you.
I still would love to get a bottle of that at some point.
It's good stuff. You know, one that I think I like even more, but I need to come back is a Ventus cologne. I was not moved by it when I first smelled it, and I've come back to decants just in the past like 2 years, and I'm like, I think I like this even more than a Ventus.
I do too. I had a carded sample. It's just it's hard to because I know the performance I get on it. I get maybe 6 hours, and this is from a couple years ago too.
Yeah,
And my nerves are bad because you're going to spend every bit of around $300. You're spending mid
yes.
200 plus on a 50 ml because I would love to get that one next. That's literally top of my Creed want list is Aventus
Mm,
cologne.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that is
still
number
toying with
one
it.
I'd like to get next.
I'm gonna play with my decant a little bit more this summer, and then I'll make a decision. And my final one, I see
Yeah, there's been a
Robert.
lot of comments wanting to see
Yes,
this one.
it's here, guys. Don't worry, don't worry. You know, no need to worry. Royal Oud. I think this is still my favorite from the house, but it is not one that I would wear all year round. I might wear Viking all year round. And in which case you could say, oh, yeah, it's one I'd wear more. So it's my favorite. This is a little bit more specific, but as a scent, as a personality, I think it's the most special from the house, in my opinion. Dry woods, no oud in sight, if you're asking me. Mostly cedar wood, a little bit of a powdery, kind of dusty, I think galbanum, and there's some other spices in there. It is just so freaking classy. This is sophisticated gentlemen. This is like evening out, date night, nice cool breeze. Even warm breeze is okay. My newer bottle here does not perform that great, just to be real. I get all of 6 hours, but that's all I need it for
Yeah, I
the
was gonna say
occasions
for
that
the
I wear it.
situations you're gonna wear it in, that's probably fine.
It's all I need. I think this is the best one for me. So that's it. That's Creed.
So according to Divine, that's the only good one. So at least we found one he likes.
Dig it. Dig it, man. Enjoy
So
it.
for me, because we went back and forth on a couple of these where we both have a lot from these houses, and it's like, it's probably better that you do it, or it's better that I do this one. Because we kind of
Sure.
talked it out on who's gonna do what brand. And we settled obviously he has more Creed than I do. It just made sense because I know he's got some really good batches of certain fragrances, as
Yeah.
you guys got to see. So for me, I'm going to start things off with Parfums de Marly, and I'm going to start with a personal
Oh,
favorite of both of ours. So when you're diving into niche, this is a great house to start with. I know some people will argue for the money, maybe not the best option, but it's hard to deny the likability of a lot of these scent profiles, and I think this speaks volumes for that. This is Sedley.
yeah.
I would think it's safe to say their safest, fresher fragrance that will
Yes.
surprise you with how it performs,
Yeah, especially the newer version. They reformulated it for the
which this
better.
is.
Yeah.
Because I wore it 2 or 3 times and did a review years ago when I first got it. And as I spent more time with it, maybe it was maceration, maybe I was just going nose blind due to the ambroxan, whatever. And I know you've had similar experiences. I know Anthony's had similar experiences where 7, 8, 9 hours in, somebody will catch a whiff of your trail and you get a compliment and you're like, from Sedley? Sprayed that in. And you look at your watch like, damn, really? This will
Yeah.
surprise you with how long it'll actually linger off of your skin. It's not going to fill the room. It's not going to scream, hey, I'm here when you walk in somewhere, but it will make your presence known as you move around
Mm.
throughout your day. Even if somebody doesn't say anything, people are going to smell you with this one. Very versatile. Fougerish qualities to it. There's some green
Mhm.
essences. There's
Mhm.
a mint. There's a nice creamy citrus at the top. The ambroxan doesn't make it too synthetic of a fragrance, but it is very much as the color and having ambroxan would make it. This is a niche blue, kind of at its finest. I think this puts a level of wearability out there for a blue fragrance that's almost unparalleled in many ways. I can't think of too many blue fragrances I think would be better as a signature scent than Sedley.
I can get behind that.
Mm-hmm. So next, we're going to go with one of the most underrated, underappreciated. I don't even wear it that much myself, to be honest with you. I forget I have it
Mm.
sometimes because it's at the back of the stack.
Mhm.
Fragrances that end up in the back, they hardly get worn, and Galloway is definitely one of those.
Mhm.
Very underappreciated. If you like clean, musky, soapy florals, you'd probably like this fragrance. Iris and musk. is the main things you can expect out of this one. Not a real spicy fragrance, not a real woodsy fragrance. It's dominated by this clean musk.
Is that the one people say is similar to Lalique White?
Probably. I would
Okay.
assume. I've never tried
And
Lalique White.
me
But it sounds
neither.
like something that would be said.
I think I've heard that, and it's funny that they both got the white bottles, like
Yeah, it's
Parfum de
got that
Marly is
white
going on.
ceramic look to it. It's a
Yeah.
gorgeous bottle.
Now
It
I'm
really
curious. I
is,
wanna
but
make sure I'm not
very
sleeping on the
underappreciated.
thing.
Nobody gives it the time of day because it's a clean, soapy fragrance. And there's 1,000 of those, if not more, clean, soapy fragrances. So not the most unique thing in the world, but I would say the quality is pretty good on this one. The versatility's top tier because it's a fresh and clean fragrance. And it's a iris fragrance that's not super powdery or real flowery, because I know that can be kind of a turnoff for some.
For sure.
Very
I gotta
underappreciated.
revisit it. I have a decant somewhere. I remember liking it. I don't remember what it smelled
It's
like,
a
but I
nice
remember liking
fragrance. It's not going to blow you away with nuance and complexity, but on a day when you just want to smell fresh and clean, it's one of the better ones out there. It really is. It just doesn't get any love because there's so much more complexity and sweet fragrances and all these other things available from the house.
Definitely.
Speaking of one that the first time I met Justin, he was wearing Leighton.
That's right.
Just for the first Scent Explorer, the
Yeah.
first time I hung out with Justin, he was wearing Leighton. Beautiful fragrance that, for those of you that haven't heard me say it before, let me go ahead and ruin Leighton for you. Smells like Vicks Vapor Rub in the opening. And once you hear that, you can't not smell it every time you smell it moving forward. But I don't find that to be off-putting. I know some people are like, this is a big turn-off fragrance for them from the feedback I've seen on the internet. Even though the majority really enjoys this one, it's got a nice fruitiness to it with some apple, a nice spicy cardamom hit that adds to that freshness. The geranium really gives it this minty tone at the top, very woodsy as it dries down. It's actually quite lovely. When it comes to sweet fragrances, it's balanced out very well with spice.
I agree.
It's not too youthful. And performance, I find to be great. I don't know about everybody else, but I get great performance out of this. This is 4 or 5 sprays if I'm feeling frisky. You know, I don't need more. It's quite strong, you know?
Yeah, it's never been a shy one for me. It's been, one that I've had people ask me what it is from, few feet away. I've always thought that maybe it's that geranium that it can almost come off mentholated in a way that can give that Vicks vibe. But I don't really smell it. Like, even after hearing it, I don't smell it that way.
Really? Because
But
the
also,
first time somebody told me that, I was like, wow, that's all I smell now.
Well, fortunately, I don't have a strong association with Vicks, so I think that's the biggest thing. I
grew up with severe sinus trouble, so no stranger to Vicks Vapor Rub as a child.
Yes, that explains it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, another one that doesn't seem to get any love, and you're going to see people sounding off about our moth craze left and right here in just a moment, but Pegasus.
And that bottle.
It's not as much of a fingerprint magnet as you would think. It looks like it would just be one big fingerprint, basically. But it's actually not as bad as you would think. I would say it's more fingerprint resistant than it gets any credit for. But a very cooling top. Creamy, milky, woodsy, bitter almond. It's got this cooling effect at the top. It's very cold open, which is kind of odd. Now, I will say, and I don't have it, I had a decant of it, the Exclusive is a superior fragrance.
I still don't think I've smelled it.
The dark animalic tones, that oud that they added, it does make it superior. As a lot of people would say about Leighton Exclusive versus Leighton. Same thing. The animalics darken it up, really take it to another level. Take away that mass appeal and make it more of an enthusiast, more of a niche fragrance, I guess.
Sure.
Would be the way to put it. And I think that's the same thing with the Exclusive here. This may lean a little too feminine for some because it does have a little bit of a white floral feel to it. It's very lactonic, creamy, milky type of fragrance. But I'll tell you what, you want to talk about immense performance and really charismatic. This one will really pull people in. Underappreciated at this stage. There was a time when it got a lot of love earlier on, but the last few years, you don't really see anybody talking about it. And
true.
Kind of an underappreciated gem. There's a lot of them like that in this house.
Yeah, I remember it was pretty big like 5-6 years ago. I think Jeremy was talking about it a lot, so it was everywhere, and now it has kind of faded. Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that.
Yeah, it doesn't get any love. I haven't wore it. It's been a few months since the last time I pulled it out myself. One I haven't worn in a while this was my favorite fragrance at one time. years ago, and I know you've struggled to like this one. You've given it several chances. I think now you're okay with it, if I remember correctly, is Carlisle.
I like it now. Yeah, it's
Because I know you
really
had
grown
some
up on
trouble liking it at first.
me. Yes, I did. That patchouli was not agreeing with me.
There's a lot of patchouli here. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
People compare this one to red tobacco, and I don't get much of that. The sweetness of red tobacco, sure, but the oud, the pungence, the tobacco, all of the earthy and smoky tones, I don't really get all of that outside of this patchouli note that kind of dominates the fragrance. I never really understood that correlation. How about you? Do you find it that similar?
No, I mean, I could see how they could be adjacent to one another, but
Mm-hmm.
they're not like truly replacements for one another. They are kind of different personalities altogether. And red tobacco is just way more brash and outlandish, and
Much
Carlisle
more.
is a little classier to me. I would definitely pull
I
that
think
out
that's
more
fair.
dressed up and when I'm not trying to like scream in everybody's face, but I will still be known,
Yeah. Well, this is another one where less is more. I've never sprayed it more than 4 times because it's got a very dense, lingering sillage to it.
Yeah.
This one will kind of fill your airspace. You don't need a lot. It's not going to, 10 feet away grab somebody in my experience. But boy, if you walk by, your trail's probably going to be that long, if not longer. It really lingers in the air. This one has a pretty strong sillage. That's why I say less is more. Leave a little room for discovery with this one. I think if you overspray this could be cloying. And just be too much and ruin your own personal wearing experience. Because for me,
Totally.
the wearing experience is the most important thing. How
Yeah.
do I feel wearing it? Am I
Yeah.
enjoying wearing this fragrance? That's got to be the most important, guys. Performance is a byproduct and a secondary thing.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, you're walking around all day. You're going to the bathroom by yourself. No one is smelling it on you then. So you
Yeah.
better love it. You know what
I
I mean?
mean, 99 times out of 100, you're the only person smelling you every day. Like
Exactly.
as far as like acknowledging that they can
Yes.
smell you, you
Yes.
are the main person that's going to acknowledge you smell you. You get a compliment on occasion. So you got to really enjoy living in the sillage, as I like to say. You got to
Yes,
enjoy
I
living
dig
in
it.
that sillage all day.
Totally.
So polarizing. My favorite fragrance from the house, Cologne.
Mm.
I love this fragrance. I love how weird it is. The red fitting, it's got this weird red rubber ball type of smell.
Yes.
I love
Yes,
it.
it does.
Blood orange, spices. This is so good out in the air. Another one crazy strong off my skin. 4 to 5 sprays is the most I've ever done. Never needed more.
Yeah.
Great cool weather scent. I get that a minimal amount of the tie-in to Baccarat Rouge 540 kind of lingering in the background,
Yeah.
but it's not one I would say is, I wouldn't even necessarily call it their take. I think the red bottle kind of plays a mind trick on
Yes.
people. I don't think they were necessarily going for Baccarat Rouge. I think it would have much more sweetness if they were going for that, because there's
And that
no burnt
spice
sugar
too.
smell to this one.
Yeah.
This is a very warm and spicy fragrance.
Yeah. Definitely.
And no, not too much love. I'm one of the few that I've always been a big fan of this one. This is the one that kind of knocked this down as my favorite.
Okay.
This is definitely my favorite from the house. How much experience do you have with it? Do you have a bottle?
I have a decant of Cologne, and I'll never forget. It's real quick. I see Mr. Cracker says smells like old pepper and hay.
There you go.
I don't know about that, but I remember
See what I'm
smelling
saying? A
this.
bunch of people saying bad stuff about it. I love it.
Yeah,
I
I
love
can't see anything good in it.
it. Look,
I
that's one
remember
after another that don't like it.
I remember smelling it when it came out, and I was like,
It's piling up.
"This is odd." I didn't really dig it, and then I got
It's a
a
weird one.
decant maybe 2 years ago. And
Mhm.
I would say I'm neutral about it, and that's great because I got an open slate. The more I smell it, I might actually really enjoy it. But right now, I'm just like, yeah, it's cool. I don't dislike it at all. I couldn't really conjure this scent in my mind because I don't have that
Mhm.
much experience, so I need to spend more time with it.
It's one that I could see where people don't like it if you're just sitting there trying to smell it.
Yes, if you
You just
put it up
spray
your
and go.
nostrils, yes,
You just spray and go and get random whiffs of it. I think it's a different experience for the people that, now look, I'm not saying some of you didn't do that, but
yeah,
I know every time I talk about this, I'm one of the few in the proud that appreciates this fragrance and likes it to the point to where it's my favorite from the house. And I've got
wow,
10 fragrances from the house, 9 fragrances. So
yeah,
yep.
it's special, man. I dig it. I'm glad
I
you
would
enjoy
call it
something.
underappreciated, but I think polarizing is the better word because the majority
Yes,
don't like it.
yes, I
You know,
agree.
I'm in the minority for sure. Now, one that's the opposite of that, it's definitely in the majority like it, is Greenlee.
I'm in the minority with Greenlee,
Oh, you don't like it?
unfortunately. To me, I have an odd association with it. It reminds me of a shampoo I used to use as like an 8 or 9-year-old.
It does have a
And that's
little bit
all
of
I
a
can
Fructis
smell.
kind of thing to it too. Green
Yes,
bottle of Fructis.
exactly. So that
Yeah.
kind of ruins it for me. Not that it like, it doesn't smell good, but I'm just like,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna wear my shampoo as a kid. But
Green
I
apple
can
and woods.
appreciate it. I can
Green apple and
appreciate
woods
it.
is the main thing I get from it, but I understand the shampoo essence because the first
Yeah.
time I smelled it, I was like, this because there was for a few years Heidi was using that green bottle of Fructis shampoo and conditioner. So I know the scent very well. I was like, that does,
Yeah.
sure smells like Fructis. But in a good way. But in a good way.
Yeah, it's good. It's
Wearable for
good.
me, you know?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
kind of specifically wear it in the spring, not just because of the color, the vibe to it kind of strikes me as a bright, mild spring day. That's kind of the
Sure.
vibe that I get from this
I can
fragrance.
see that.
Mass
I
appealing
wanna
stuff. This is one of the fragrances that they get flack for as being overpriced designers. This is one of the ones that does that because it is a more synthetic smelling fragrance. It doesn't smell like something you would pay retail $300 for a 75 ml for, 250, whatever retail is. Because even now from discounters, you're paying 170 range ish for 75 ml, 150 to 170 at best,
Wow.
which is pricey, but
Yeah.
I like these kind of fragrances. So it's
Yeah.
totally fine for me. You know,
Yeah,
it's my
I
jam.
dig it, man. I want to go back to my decant because I've heard actually quite a few great things about it just over the past year or two. People have been wearing it, maybe even
People are
just the
warming up to it
season.
more.
Yeah, this season I've seen it a lot, and I'm just like, let me give it another shot. I got to dig it out.
It got flack when it came. That seems to be the thing. Shit on it when it comes out, appreciate it when it gets discontinued.
Yes.
Not that it's
Exactly.
discontinued, but that's kind of the MO of this community.
Yeah,
right?
man.
You know,
You ain't
it's
lying.
awful. They did this, they did that. 3 years pass, and they're like, man, I love this. Why didn't I
It's
not
like,
give this a
man,
chance?
hidden gem.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
all
such a good
right.
one. Hey guys, it's getting reformulated. Get it while you can get it. You know, my God. But
Yes.
speaking of one that, if you think this is a weak performer, I promise you're going nose blind to this one because it's full of synthetics. This is another one that gets the overpriced designer tag. It's Percival.
Oh, yes.
4 sprays max.
Yes.
Max. I've
That
never
stuff
done
is
more than 4.
strong, man. I mean, that's
Yes.
strong, not strong.
This fills a
strong.
room at 4 sprays.
Yes.
My whole apartment smells like this when I wear it. My wife tells me you need to dial it back when you wear it. Told me that the last 2 times. I'm like, I'm only wearing 4 sprays. She's like, I don't care. My eyes burn when you leave a room.
Oh my gosh, man.
Because it's full of synthetics. Now look, a lot of people are going to say, oh, you can just get Fierce. You can get Legend. Yes, you can. But this is the ultimate take on those fragrances. This smells of, even though it's full of synthetics, it smells like higher quality raw materials. It just does, even though there's synthetics in here.
Smoother blend.
And the performance is unmatched for this scent profile. I haven't smelled a clone. I've smelled clones of Fierce from Alexandria. And so you just insert name of smells like Percival here, and none of them have performed the way Percival has, which I know is very important to a lot of people. How's it perform, bro?
It is the game. Yeah, it is everything. It's a game changer for many people.
Yeah.
How does it perform, bro?
That
is my wife's favorite from the house.
Mine
on
too.
Me. Yeah, like
she told me I need to dial it back, but she loves the smell. She does. She's like, just wear 2 sprays. 2 sprays is yeah, she's a big fan of this one as well.
Yeah, I'll be pulling it out more this summer.
And the last one, this is technically a 30 ml bottle that was decanted to me by my friend DJ Wells, owner of Happy Land Studio. I've knocked about 10 ml of it out. It's not a regular decant. That's why I felt it was fair to include it. This is Leighton exclusive.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. Yeah.
Big fan of that. I mean, you can see the dent in that one.
Yes.
And I'm very situational with it. I just love it. I wear it to a lot of, I don't talk about it all the time because it's so seldom that I wear it, but over the years, I've managed to put a pretty good dent in it. I've had it pretty much since like 2 months after the damn thing came out. He bought it and he decanted it for me. He was super generous.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It is superior to Leighton. And I love Leighton. I'm a fan, but this castoreum kind of funky animalistic tone on top of Leighton's DNA. I don't think I'm going too far out of bounds by calling it a masterpiece. This is incredible.
Yeah, it is. It isn't a complete. I mean, it depends on your taste, but for me and Ross here, it's a complete upgrade. Like the original's great. This is an upgrade. It's just better. Maybe not as versatile, but for those situations, as you said,
Definitely not. But if you want to make a statement, it's got insert number of sprays for however you want it to perform. The performance is not lacking. If you want to leave room for discovery, 1 or 2 sprays. If you want to make a statement, 5, you can fill the room at 5 or 6.
I messed up with it one time.
Yeah,
I remember
you
when
can't
I first
do a lot on this one, man. Another 4 sprayer for me, 3 to 4.
I don't know what I was thinking. I think I didn't have my bottle yet. I had a decant, and it was in the summer. It was an evening. I went out, and I think I did one too many. And no one said anything, but there was some looks, and there was some people making, backing away from me and stuff. I was like, oh damn, okay. I learned on that night.
And that's the last one for me. And real quick, before Justin jumps into his next one, I see we have 200 watching. Thank you so much. But 84 likes, that's abysmal.
Oh, come on,
guys. We can do better than that. It takes a split second. If you don't mind, hit that thumbs up for me.
It is so ridiculously free. It's not even. It's the freest thing you could do right now. Yeah. Like just, and I know some people, maybe if you don't have a YouTube account, I don't know if YouTube lets you like videos.
No, you can't unless you signed in.
But come on, y'all. If you guys keep coming back to Ross's channel to watch his videos and you don't have a channel, don't have an account, it's so easy.
Okay, I feel bad now because Divine says we're at 127. Maybe for some reason, I got it on YouTube over here. It's only showing 84.
Interesting.
Huh. Kind of weird.
Okay, well, sometimes
my apologies then. 127 is great then. Anyways, if you haven't hit it,
we said nothing. Forget everything we said. No.
So real quick, Divine, I have never tried Haltane. I used to have a decant of Herod. I've been meaning to get a bottle. Used to have a decant of Amouage. Been meaning to get a bottle. Have a decant currently of Godolphin. So I'm familiar with 3 of the 4. The fun fact, the Herod decant, I was visiting here before we moved here, doing one of those neighborhood walk around reviews. There was a little string of them that I did. Dropped the decant at the end of the review and cracked it on the ground in the review. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Since then, I haven't had any Herod sprays.
Okay. Yeah, I have Herod. I don't have Haltane. I actually smelled it for the first time just like last week.
I heard it's oud for greatness, but better.
Yeah, it was okay. I smelled it on paper. Got to put it on skin. Amouage, I've smelled once. I don't remember it very well. I have
very
Darly.
Sweet.
Yes, I remember.
Darly, I have a decant of Darly.
Darly is a funny one.
I love it. That's one I've been meaning to get. It's in stock in a lot of places right now. Fun fact, guys, if you want niche Lamal, get Parfums de Marly Darly.
Yes. And it also reminds me of this. I'm going to move on to Amouage. That'll be my next house. It also reminds me of Reflection Man. A little bit, just in quality, because Darly is, I think it's a little bit smoother than Lamal.
Oh, yeah.
And as a result, that ties it a little bit more to Reflection for me. For sure. But I mean, you guys have smelled this. If you haven't, I don't know why not.
Oh, God.
You need to get a decant.
He and I are both massive fans of this fragrance.
Yeah, this is my little 50 ml bottle, which I've had for a few years. I actually don't wear it all that much anymore. This is a funny one for Grace. This type of profile, heavier white florals, a little powdery, creamy, is not really her vibe. She's coming around to it little by little. So I'm light on this one because my batch here is very strong. So I can't really sneak it and just like sneakily wear it and have it not bother
Mine's
her.
strong too.
It will envelop her and she's just like, you're wearing that.
I feel so bad for saying anything. We got 163 likes. Apparently I was way off. I clicked refresh.
Oh,
got a ton of likes. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and those of you liking it, we appreciate it. Anyway, Reflection Man, it's kind of at least for a period of time, I don't know if it still is considered this, but it was like the entry into Amouage, even though I don't really feel like the scent truly represents what Amouage is, especially today or even back then. A lot of their scents, they use ingredients that are native to Oman, where they're based, and lots of resins and incense and darker woods and things like that. And this is none of that at all. This is like creamy, slightly powdery, fresh white florals. It's beautiful. It's clean, but with this like upscale feeling. You don't need me to explain.
It's a very classy fragrance.
Yeah, you guys have really probably smelled that one already.
199 super chat from Smelly. Not sure if he has Epic Man. I'll weigh in after. If not, and Carlisle, just scroll back a little bit. We just went over
Yes.
Carlisle in the PDM section.
We sure
Thank you
did.
for the super chat, my friend.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Next, we will do, let's see, another classic here. Jubilation 25. This is my newer bottle. Yeah, and this was not my favorite when I first smelled it. In its original formulation, it was very, very strong. It was too much. I had a decant of that, and in fact, I think I recorded a first impressions video that I never released. This was like 5 years ago. I got a decant of this and Lyric. I hated both of them. I never put the video out.
Lyric?
At the time, yes. I wasn't a Rose fan at the time. Now a Lyric
I
is
need a bottle.
freaking
My
gorgeous.
decant's been gone.
I'm the same way. Spoiler alert, I don't have Lyric, so I need to get Lyric. And Grace has been loving it too. She's actually been wearing our decant as well.
So good.
But Jubilation, this is the newer formulation. It is a little bit more transparent, which is a big problem for a lot of people. It's not as dense as it was. It's not as long lasting as it was. But for me personally, it's an improvement because it makes the profile classier. It makes it less bombastic and less, needing to get attention type of profile. When people come close, they get this very regal and rich, but not screaming type of scent that is like it's honey, it's oud, it's frankincense. There's maybe a little bit of like a fruity blackberry.
Like a blackberry note?
Yeah, blackberry. That doesn't come out all that much, at least in this formulation. There's an overall kind of fresher sweetness floating around, but it's not overtly blackberry to me. But I do get a lot of that honey and oud and resins. There's a little bit of this like almost rubbery feel. I think it's one of the resins. Some people may not dig that. I think it adds to this interesting character to the scent that I like. So I get a good 6-ish hours out of this. I enjoy it. I wear it for special occasions. And again, for those occasions, it's perfect for that. So that's a classic.
Smelly, I know he hasn't, nor have I. Omar's fragrance, Mr. Fragrant.
Haven't tried it.
I haven't tried it.
Not tried it. Yeah. Okay. This is one of my favorites from the house. Right now, I think it is my favorite because of just how it functions for me and how much I wear it. This is Enclave. Banger. This stuff, man, and I did not expect for this to become my favorite. It's one of the newer fragrances since Renaud Salmon, who's the new creative director, since he stepped in. This was one of the first fragrances he put out under his direction, and it was kind of a change for the brand, but still, trying to pay homage to the history of the brand. And it's such a unique blend that has so much balance, but so much presence to the point where it is a little polarizing. It is very minty. Some people say it smells like toothpaste to them. I don't really get
heard
that vibe.
Because of the spearmint oil. I've heard that.
Yeah,
I can get it, but there's so much orientals and resins and stuff.
Yes.
It's so good.
The labdanum in here is sticky and sweet and warm. There's maybe a leather vibe. The cardamom works very well with the mint. I think it adds a nice texture to the mint. The spiciness makes it so, to me, it doesn't smell like toothpaste. If it had a creamy vibe to it, I could see that. But for me, it's a little bit more fresh mint leaf, but it is very intense. I will say that. So again, it's a great performer. It has a great balance to it. It's kind of versatile for being so different. I wouldn't wear it in the highest heat because it's very strong.
I've worn it in the summer in Texas when I first got it. And that was when I discovered I couldn't wear 4 sprays and get in the car with Heidi. Yep, we went to Lowe's. We were heading to Lowe's. I remember specifically the first time I wore it.
Oh yeah, you never forget things like that.
No, and then Devon agrees. He said it's his number one from the house.
Yes, it's so good.
Guys, he's a hard character to please. That should tell you a lot.
Yeah, it's good.
I think the newer fragrances from them have been just one great. I haven't smelled every single one from all the new collections, but I have a good bit since Enclave and Meander. Those were the first two.
Yeah.
And I mean, Lineage, fantastic. Boundless, fantastic. I mean, the list goes on and on. They've done so much great work since he took over.
I agree. Yeah. And I know it was a little bit of a departure At least it was just different from what people remembered. But if you look at the collection of what they've done since, it's like, no, this is still Amouage and it's still quality. It's still good stuff. Getting all the same perfumers to do the perfumes. It's working.
George.
Speaking of, George.
Yeah, George
What's
popped
up?
in.
Speaking
We've
of
seen Christian
Boundless,
and George. It was nice of them to jump in.
you mentioned Boundless. I know you're a fan of this one, man.
Big fan.
Gosh.
That's one of my 5 favorite tobacco fragrances.
It is blood orange, bourbon vanilla. Has some spiciness. I don't remember what it is. It's such an intense spice.
I don't
A lot of
remember
tobacco. Gosh, it's like this dark, almost burnt tobacco, but it's not smoky or anything like that. There's not a whole lot of sweetness
a little bit of
here.
smoke from it. I get a little bit.
Yeah, it's not a ton.
I think it's
but
more from the tobacco, though.
I agree. Yeah, it is more of a tobacco smoke, but it's not overwhelming to me. I wouldn't classify it as a smoky fragrance. It is very much a tobacco scent. I think the vanilla adds the illusion of this boozy quality that, mixed with the blood orange is almost like wet smelling. It's an incredible scent, and it smells like nothing else, honestly.
And I'm glad you said that, because so many people compare it to tobacco vanilla, and I don't think it's that close. I don't think if you look on Trograntica, that's the number one thing they say it smells like. And I think there's more differences than similarities. You hear tobacco and vanilla, and immediately, it's Tom Ford tobacco vanilla.
No, guys, this is not tobacco vanilla.
No, definitely not.
It's good stuff. Okay, this is probably my second true love from the house. I've talked about it a lot over the years. Beach Hut.
Yes, you have.
This stuff it's not for everyone. This is extremely green. Extremely green. Yes, a lot of galbanum, a lot of mint, a lot of vetiver that's made almost green, very woody. But I think what saves it, what gives a little bit of balance, is the myrrh. The myrrh in here is like the glue to the scent. It's this very slight, sweet, kind of sticky warmth that kind of holds everything together. So in the midst of all this green, woody foliage, you get this slight kind of balance of warm and sweetness that it's very, very classy. It's very strong. This stuff is a 2 to 3 sprayer for me. And after that, it's too much. My wife loves this on me. It might be her favorite, honestly.
Doesn't that make it such a bonus when the wife's a fan?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I loved it even before we got together. And when we did, and she's like, oh, this is amazing. I'm like, you're the one. All right. You're the one. Hope you're okay with that. All right. Let's go with one that had to grow on me. When I first got a decant of this, I think it was in 2018, I was not ready for it. This was not my vibe. This was like, oh, this smells like an old man. This is not me. I can't pull this off. It's stuffy smelling. It was just,
I'm wondering which one you're talking about.
Bracken.
Bracken. That one.
Bracken is one that, again, when I first smelled it years ago, not my thing. I didn't smell it since that point, but I knew that, years later I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? I think Bracken is one that I would dig, because from that point on to now, I just got into fougères pretty heavy, because this is technically a fougère, but it's a very specific one. But I just had a feeling like, you know what? I think I can appreciate it now. I ended up blind buying, well, not really, but kind of. I bought this bottle not knowing if I would actually like it, and I love it. And again, it's a fougère. It does have that kind of almost barbershop feel. There is lavender. There is the mossy feel. There's the woods and spices. And the spice here that's heavy is cloves. And that is the polarizing factor. It's a very dry spice. Too. You either like it or you don't. Kind of thing.
Some people can't stand it if there's even a little bit of clove in a fragrance.
It's super dry. It's kind of stuffy smelling, like sticking your nose in a wool sweater or something like that. That's the feeling I get, at least up close. But don't judge it like that. You guys already know that. There is a freshness here, but it's mostly warm spice, and it is powerful. It smells very sophisticated. Yes, a little bit mature. So you guys under 30, not sure if you'll dig it. Decant first, or get a sample first. But I love this stuff. It's a very, very unique fougère, unlike anything else I've tried in the genre. Let's see, only a couple more here. Let's do material.
I've been wanting to try that one.
I
That
gotta get you. I gotta get
Crimson
the
Rocks, I think is what it is.
I still
The
need
other
to
one
try that one as
I want to try
well.
that one too.
So those of you who are familiar with the House of Amouage before the creative direction change, which I think was like 20,
Uh-oh. We froze
this
for
is
a
where the
second.
wind.
I don't know if it's me or you, but there's some freezing going on.
Not sure what happened. You still
Okay,
there?
you're back.
Okay, everything froze on my screen.
Yeah, it was you.
On
I'm looking at
my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, that was weird. But
Yeah.
I don't know what the last thing you heard was, but I was saying that a lot of people have experience with these bottles being for women because these are like the women releases, but they've changed that. The brand has completely gotten rid of that idea. Every fragrance is essentially unisex. There's no this man and this woman
Because
anymore.
lineage is phenomenal.
Yes. Yes.
Phenomenal.
It is. So don't
Which
be
I'm
fooled
sure
by
we're
the
going to get
bottle
to in a
style.
minute.
Perhaps. But yeah, don't be fooled by the bottle style. This is Cecile
Actually like those
Zaharoff.
bottles a lot.
They're ergonomic. They look cool.
They feel better.
Yeah,
in
they
the
feel
hand.
great in the hand.
Yeah.
And I love the cap style and everything. Cecile Zarokian, if you know anything about Cecile and how she uses more ambery notes, you know that she does it right. If you smelled Ani, if you smelled Cafe Cabanel, if you smelled, she's got stuff with Javoy, all kind of stuff that's just like when it's amber and vanilla, and that's like her wheelhouse. I'm not trying to pigeonhole it, but she does it well. This is vanilla for sure. Lots of true like Madagascar vanilla, some of the most expensive vanilla you can put in a fragrance. So as a result, this type of vanilla is not made to smell edible. It doesn't smell like yummy vanilla cake vibes at all. It's vanilla with some tonka bean. The tonka bean's almost pruny in this, which is weird sounding. It's less vanillic. It adds this almost like dark fruity quality, but not overtly so. You do have some maybe elemi resin in here. There's some what's the name of that wood? Gaiac wood. So there's a bit of a smoky. Yes, that almost barbecue feel, but it's very light here.
Gaiac wood's such a good note.
Yeah,
I get excited if I see it in a base of any fragrance.
Yes,
it's a good note.
But overall, this is an amber fragrance. There is like a labdanum feel. It's kind of sticky and sweet, but again, not edible feeling. There is a lot of there's this darkness floating around. It's a beautiful blend. It's kind of hard to dissect, to be honest. Highly worth getting your nose on. And again, totally unisex. Perfectly unisex.
So that's on my need to buy list because I'm always analyzing things, guys. And I don't know how many of you noticed he spent more time dissecting that one than the rest. So there's a reason behind that.
It's a beautiful scent, guys. It's good stuff. Let's stay in this bottle design. The only other one I have is Lineage. Oh man, this is
so. Look, real quick, I gotta say, because how much he loved this fragrance is the reason when I was offered a bottle from Twisted Lily that I picked that one. I was like, I gotta get this one. This is the one. Justin loves it. I'm gonna love it. I'll let him take it from here. It's his segment, but Jesus Christ.
It's incredible, man. I don't know what you get exactly, but to me, it does have the illusion of an aquatic feel, but shrouded in incense.
Salty marine feel.
Yes. But like smoky olibanum, that resinous, smoky feel. It's very intensely incensey, but there is this kind of lightly salty freshness, kind of giving it a bit of an airy quality. And it is insanely powerful.
I was about to say, so robust. It
is so
Do not spray
strong.
this fragrance heavy, guys. Don't let the thought of aquatic and the color of that bottle fool you.
It will fool you.
Oh my God.
It's gorgeous stuff. And it smells like no other aquatic leaning fragrance I've ever smelled. Yes, no, completely perfect for anyone. It is. Get a sample. Please, guys, get a sample.
Sorry for interrupting so much.
No, you're good.
I love this fragrance.
I hope the audience is analyzing and they're seeing both of us going in on this. Get a sample. This is like a great summer evening kind of scent. Perfect, especially if you're going to be outdoors. Really good.
Robert, he absolutely is a huge influence on me. I know his taste and I know him very well personally, so I know if he says it's great, it's great. It's gonna be great.
It's good stuff, man. We got two more, I believe. This is one of the newer releases from last year. to be honest, it's still growing on me. It's actually one of those fragrances that was a little too strong for me to truly appreciate it.
Hmm.
It was like getting just in the way and just strangling me, even after a couple sprays. It's Royal Tobacco.
I've
And
heard it's very polarizing.
there's going to be some people in here who are going to be like, are you kidding
I've
me,
heard
dude?
burnt
It's
hair and
freaking...
barbecue.
I don't get
Rudy,
any of
time to
that.
musk up. Shout out to Rudy. He said burnt hair and barbecue.
I don't get any of that at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
To me, this is like, it's a very incensey tobacco, almost interlude vibes. And that's another one to spoil. I don't have interlude, guys, if you're waiting on that. It has interlude vibes, like that type of resinous incense, a little smoky, quite sweet, very dense. But the tobacco is blended here. Ooh, it like literally dries out my nose when I smell it. It's a beautiful scent, but it's just that the times that I've worn it, it becomes overwhelming very quickly. So I haven't experimented with like one spray, which I typically don't like to count as a full wearing. I like to do at least two. So I got to figure it out. I'm not going to pull it out.
Test spray.
Yeah, exactly. So I might have to wait till the dead of winter comes back around to spray this thing. I will not be wearing this in the summer, not even at night. It's too much. It's a great scent, but it's a lot. So if you do get a sample, guys, I would like to caution you to not spray it on your hand and then smell it up close. It's going to slap you in the face. Okay. I'm just telling you. So you've been warned. Final Amouage here is a polarizing one for sure. Overture.
Oh God.
Overture.
Another one that I had to have. It wasn't just him talking about it. I did a blind smelling rate with him, and he brought it, and I was blown away.
That's right. And because I knew I wanted you to get your nose on it. I knew you were going to dig it. Because I think it affected you the same way it affected me when I first smelled it. I just couldn't believe how opulent it was.
Right.
I was like, wait a minute, what? What is this? And Corbin had me smell it blind, and I had to guess what house it was from. And I think I ended up guessing it was Amouage just by the character, but nonetheless, it's so rich. That cognac is just that sweet, rich booziness. It's a little animalic and spicy. There's a touch of grapefruit at the top that I kind of smelled more and more when I first sprayed it. I'm like, that grapefruit adds this slight bit of approachability to it. It's a kind of a bitter, fresh, citrusy quality, but all in all, it kind of smells the way it looks. It has this brown liquid.
I look at it as if you like this, you're going to like the majority of the house.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of elements. It's a lot of elements of what the house is about as a whole in that one fragrance. For as challenging as it can be and uber masculine, if you like that fragrance as a guy that likes masculine fragrance, you're going to like the majority of their offering. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yes. Perhaps a little situational. Don't wear it all that much, but how we talked about like latent exclusive. It's like, yeah, we're not going to wear it a bunch. It's not all that versatile, but when you do wear it, he said he bought it and regret I can't wear it. I'm actually surprised.
I wore it to the Royale XXX party.
Okay.
That was the fragrance I wore because I knew it's a memorable moment. So I said, let me wear something memorable because Heidi hates it.
Okay.
And so I can't wear it with her. And I'm like,
yeah,
it's a special occasion fragrance.
Yeah.
Okay, man. I have a special occasion coming up where she's not going to be here. I'm wearing this. And I'm glad I did too.
It's
had a couple of people. Brian from My Two Cents actually guessed it. He's like, you're wearing Overture, man. That's how distinctive that fragrance is.
Damn, there's a smokiness to it. Yeah, I agree with what you said. Yes, totally. This is hair in your chest kind of scent. This is really going to weed out the real ones in terms of do you like Amouage, as you said. So, woo, good stuff. Anyway, that is Amouage from me. Again, I'm missing many, of course. You guys can fill in the gaps.
But real quick, because we're getting close to an hour and a half. I know you're kind of limited on time.
I got maybe another 10 minutes I can play with, 10, 15.
I'll blaze through Montale. Montale's next for me. But real quick, we had a super chat ask about Epic Man. Epic Man's actually my favorite from Amouage.
Okay. I only have a decant.
That is basically that DNA's in most of their fragrances.
Yes.
It's the oriental resins, incense, spices, a little bit of that oud. That's what it smells like. I wear that one to holidays and stuff, Thanksgiving, Christmas, things like that.
Yeah.
It makes a bit of a statement for all of the things I just described, it's actually quite easy to wear for that style, I find. And then with Journeyman, that's another one that Enrique
I
keeps
still need to
asking.
try that.
So Journeyman is a very dry, robust tobacco. The only freshness to it really is this juniper berry at the top, Sichuan pepper, warm, hot spice, earthy and dry vetiver tobacco. It's
That
another
sounds
one that's
great.
uber masculine.
Yeah.
But it is so good. I'm
Wow.
surprised you don't have that one, honestly.
Yeah, I
You would
almost
enjoy that one for sure.
I know I would. I mean, I feel like if you can enjoy Overture, like as
Oh
again, you
God,
can
yeah,
enjoy them
it's
all.
Overture light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to
for
come
sure.
back to that. And there's other
It's a little
fragrances I
smoky.
still
I mean, all of their fragrances have a
yeah,
little
a
bit of
little bit.
incense in them, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I
yeah, it's
still
really
want to
good.
smell Imitation. I've heard great things
I
about
want
that.
to
It
check out
looks super
Honor.
interesting. Honor. I've only smelled Honor Woman, but not Man. I've heard great things
Dia,
about that too.
Honor. I have a Decan of Sunshine.
I have a Decan of Sunshine as well. Honestly, it's not my favorite. I like it. It just
It's okay.
it kind of falls flat on me. It just didn't really
Yeah,
go
it's
anywhere.
okay.
But I liked it. It is kind of different for what it is, which I appreciate. Anyway, what you got?
So next, we're gonna go ahead and jump into Montale. So I have quite a few, not as
Oh,
many as Mancera, but one that's been hyped to death, and I'll go ahead and thank Michelle for that, is Woods and Spices.
okay.
So this gets a lot of love ever since she really started hyping it, and for good reason. It's creamy, it's woody and spicy, as the name would indicate, but it's more creamy than it gets credit for. All of these, I don't really think I need to touch on performance. Outside of a few of the fresh ones, they're all immensely powerful.
Yeah,
All
no
of them really
question.
perform. But the name pretty much sums up what you're going to get from it. It's a woody fragrance, a light, more fresh spice than warm spice with a creamy tone. It's as simplistic as it sounds. It smells great. It's very versatile, but it can be a lot because it's creamy. It can be a lot if you overspray this one.
Okay, I
I
believe
wouldn't
it.
advise spraying it the way she does, but to each their own. To each their own. I do 4 to 5 sprays because it's so strong. She does 20. Everybody's different. Find somewhere in the middle for you, I guess. Whatever suits yours. But this one, I would say, is easily one of the better ones to start with from the house because it's not a challenging wear at all. It's not dominated by oud or heavy patchouli because some of them are real heavy on patchouli, which I have a few we'll get into in a little bit. But do you have any experience with wooden spices, Justin?
I feel like maybe you had me smell it, but I could be thinking of something else. Otherwise,
No,
no.
because I've never brought this one on one of the trips where we
Okay.
hung out.
No, I have not smelled it then, but I've heard a lot about it. I know she was talking about it a lot, so it's got some hype.
Yeah, don't be a
I was waiting for one of these
Yeah,
comments. I was waiting.
it's inevitable. Especially since I mentioned how heavy she sprays it. So this is a new one to my collection. This is a fun fragrance. It's a little bubblegummy in the top, easy to wear. Soleil de Capri, de Capri, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
I recently picked this one up. Kumquat. That's the main fruitiness that you're going to get from this one. I'm going to spray it. It's got a little bit of a bubblegum fruitiness to the top. It's airy. It's a little watery. Like I said, just fun. Easiest wear I have of all my Montale fragrances. This is another one to dip your toe into, but at the same time, you're not really going to get what Pierre Montale kind of does with his fragrances. It doesn't have that Mancera Montale kind of signature, kind of like how Amouage has the incenses and stuff that we were talking about a moment ago. Mancera Montale, they typically have this kind of funkiness to them in a lot of their fragrances. Their ouds kind of all tie into one another because it's the same oil used in all of their fragrances. This one, you're not going to get any of that. It's kind of a reach for what you can typically expect from the house, but very easygoing, very fun summertime fragrance, decent performer. I haven't seen monstrous performance out of it. I've been getting about 7 hours since I got it, which I think for the scent profile does it justice. I don't think this one needs to be all that super strong. This is one you can really pull off on a hot summer's day, where most of them you can't. At least the ones I have, most of them you definitely can't.
Okay, yeah, I haven't tried that one either. I have so little experience with Montale, so this is all new to me.
This one is very polarizing on the internet. This is Mango Manga. I got it at the same time as the previous one. This is an extremely ripe mango, very earthy green. It's not for everyone. The top is super tart, almost like a rotten mango in many ways, like rotten fruit type of smell at the top. You'll see people say that on the internet. The opening is not for everyone, but boy, if you give this one a few minutes, this is one of those. You give it a few minutes, it really develops into something just so unique and beautiful for being a fruity tropical fragrance. It's so different. And fun fact, I had Chad from A Gentleman's Journey message me earlier. He was looking to get a decant of this, and he's like, hey, I don't know if you have this or not. I was thinking we could do this as a collaboration review on my channel. So I gave him a fair warning about this one. I was like, yes, I bought it recently. Totally down to, I haven't reviewed it on my channel yet. Totally down to do it on your channel. Just be warned. It's like rotten meat ripe in the opening. It's not for everyone.
Wow.
This is one that's a little bit of a challenge that I see where it gets a lot of hate online, but this is also, you have to give a minute to appreciate it for sure. Because I can see this turning pretty much everybody off in the opening. It's got a rotten fruit smell at first, then it gets ripe. It's weird. It goes backwards from a spoiled fruit to a fresh fruit.
I guess it's better that way.
And this one's strong. This one's strong. So you got to be ready to live in this.
Yes, I'm sure.
I blind bought this. I would not encourage others to do the same. It is not a safe blind buy. Thankfully, I do enjoy it. Now, one that's much more on the unisex side because it's just so powdery would be Starry Nights.
I've heard so much about that over the years.
A lot of people are big fans of this one. It's a sweet, powdery fragrance. I admittedly haven't spent a ton of time with it. I've worn it maybe twice since I got it. It just kind of sits there. This is the problem with having things stacked in their boxes. Out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. It's not for lack of the fragrance smelling great. It's just, like I said, out of sight, out of mind. If I don't see it, I don't think about it.
Totally.
Unless it just has made that level of impact on me. You know, you guys know what I'm saying. There's certain fragrances that are always in the back of your mind when you're thinking, what do I want to wear? You got to like powdery, though. This is immensely powdery. I think even in the note breakdown, one of them is powdery notes, if I remember correctly. There's a little bit of warmth. There's a sweetness that's not typical fruity sweetness or like a thick honey smell, but an inherent sweetness nonetheless. But like I said, leans on the feminine side because it's so powdery. So if you're not a fan of powdery fragrances, steer completely clear of this one because it's definitely powdery. And one of the most popular from the house, Intense Cafe. So Ristretto Intense Cafe seems to be more popular because the balance is shifted. Whereas here it's touted for being a coffee fragrance, but it's really a rose fragrance with some coffee. The rose takes over. Whereas the Ristretto version is a coffee fragrance with some rose.
Right. It's funny. The Ristretto is the only Montale that I own.
It's a lot of people's favorite. If you want a really good coffee fragrance, that's one of the most touted as a great coffee fragrance. It's phenomenal. Have a decant of it, but too redundant to have both, in my opinion, because it's literally the same fragrance with some adjustments and kind of a balance shift. Whereas I'm totally fine with the rose dominance. Big fan of rose fragrances. The coffee is short-lived. It's pretty much in the top, and it settles into a very thick, jammy rose that's got a dark, robust nuance in the background. But still, it's just as popular as the Ristretto one. A lot of people. I had a decant of this one before I ever got a bottle.
There would be no Ristretto without the original.
Very true. Now, one that I encourage everyone to try. If you've ever been a fan of Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger, you should absolutely try Fougères Marine.
Yes, you had me smell this one, I believe.
I had to bring this one for you.
It is uncanny.
Yes.
How much it smells like Tommy, but just a more robust version. It's crazy.
It's more watery too. There's a fresh water accord in here. And because of that, it takes the oak moss and freshens it up.
Yeah.
If not for that, it'd be a much more earthy, spicy green than it actually is. That freshens it up quite a bit to tie it more into Tommy, because Tommy's more of a fresh green spice than it is like sheep or dominant oak moss.
Yeah. Definitely.
Whereas this is sheep or dominant oak moss, but there's so much freshness in the top. You know, beautiful. It's not one-to-one with Tommy, but if there was ever such a thing as a niche take on Tommy, it's Fougères Marine.
Which no one would ever expect, but
no,
here we are.
So good. So
great.
This is my favorite Montale fragrance. There's one other that used to be until I got this, because I'm just such a 90s kid at heart, you know, and Tommy Tommy's more the 90s to me than Acqua di Gio.
I agree.
For me personally.
Same here.
Big fan. Now, this was my favorite before I got Fougères Marine. This is Honey Oud.
Steve had just asked, and there it is.
Oh, yeah. There you go, Honey Oud. Yeah, that's the inevitable. I have to say, I know personally a few people have bought this because of the way I've praised it. Montrese is in here. He's one of them.
Mhm.
Because this is so good. This is delicious oud, if there's such a thing. Picture chips of oud covered in honey, sprinkled with cinnamon, shave some vanilla on top of it. It's what this fragrance is. It really comes down to what that would smell like. A little powdery, not too much. This is a very wearable and delicious oud based fragrance because it's so gourmand heavy with the honey and the vanilla. God, there's an argument for it still being my favorite. If you look at what I would wear in the fall and winter, it's hands down my favorite. One of my absolute 10 favorites to wear in those seasons, period, let alone from Montale. This is a showstopper if you like sweet fragrances. Still has a little bit of oud funk, but not. This is one of the more wearable ouds if you're a fan of sweet.
For sure. I've sampled that one, and it is very good.
It's amazing. I love it. It's so good. Now, one that does not get any love, and you could be fooled into wearing this during the day if you blind buy it and you're first wearing summer daytime. You'll regret it. It's not built for the summer daytime. It is Mancera's Tropical Wood. So this is passion fruit and oud. Now, if you want to wear this to dinner on your beach vacation, when the sun's not out anymore and there's a breeze coming off the beach, absolutely 2 to 3 sprays, phenomenal. You wear this one in the high heat, humid, boy, you're gonna regret that. It's gonna smell like rotten fruit and just biblical church pews and all this. Oh God, terrible for the heat, but for evenings or like spring and fall when it's not just blazing hot, this is quite the unique tropical fruit fragrance. It's the passion fruit's beautiful here, but it is a dominant, typical Montale Mancera oud. The oud oil that they use, it really overtakes this fragrance. There's other things going on in here, but that's the 2 most prominent things you're going to smell, and this one's just ridiculously powerful. I do not advise spraying this more than 3 times until you get familiar with it and know where you're going to wear it. I mean, hey, if you want to spray it 20 times, go for it, but I would not suggest that'd be the first time you wear it, no matter where you're going. Try a few sprays first. But yeah, Tropical Wood. Very unique. Very good.
I got to try it. Sounds interesting.
So this name will fool you because it's more of a patchouli fragrance. This is spicy oud. It's a saffron spice. And the oud here, it shows its head, but it's more of a dry, warm wood, because there's an inherent creamy patchouli that kind of overtakes the scent profile. This is one of those I was talking about earlier that's the dominant patchouli note, and you wouldn't think that by the name. Not a complicated fragrance, very simplistic note breakdown. I think it's like 5 or 6 notes, which when you smell it, I would believe that to be the actual formula. Another one though, crazy power. Cool weather only for this one. Definitely not warm weather friendly. But if you like patchouli, one of the better patchouli fragrances I've put my nose on. Just know it's supported by saffron and oud. And that's pretty much what you're going to get. I don't really get much musk or anything like that. But lovely fragrance. I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about this outside of myself.
I don't think I've heard of it.
There's so many people, so many Montale fragrances out there.
Gosh.
It's unreal. Now, this is one that had its share of hype, and this is Oud Tobacco. This one's really good. So I don't know how many of you get this. Some of you have heard me say this in the full review. I get Flintstone vitamins in the opening.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah. It's a very smoky, earthy fragrance. It's not funky oud. It's more of a smoky, dry oud. The tobacco, same thing, more earthy than it is creamy. It's not really a moist fragrance. It's more of a dry fragrance, but stunning. I've gotten compliments, specific situation actually at a Kroger. They're King Supers over here, but it's Kroger. From the cashier and the person bagging the groceries, both could not stop raving about how great I smelled, which I just was blown away because of what fragrance it is. I was like, wow. I wouldn't strike this as a compliment getter, but it goes back to what you like to say a lot. Any fragrance can get compliments. You never know, right? This is not one that I would think. This is a more polarizing fragrance. That's more for the enthusiasts, more for the crowd that's really watching a live stream like this in the first place. But it's lovely. It's lovely. It's not the most challenging fragrance out there where oud tobacco may sound like it's going to be. I would say tobacco oud from Tom Ford's probably much more challenging than this.
Interesting.
You know,
Okay.
this is better than it's gotten credit for being really good, but it doesn't get talked about enough. I think this is one of the better releases that they've put out in the house. It's really, really good.
I want to try it.
And I got one more that doesn't smell like the bottle looks at all. So this is Pure Love.
Wow.
This is basically ambergris and vanilla. Has some sandalwood and stuff like that, but it's actually very versatile daytime wear. The ambergris is pretty dominant. It's a salty type of ambergris, creamy vanilla. It's a lovely fragrance. It's a tester. That's why I don't have to pull the pin. Because for those of you that don't know, the testers, the pen goes through the atomizer head.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So lovely. God, that smells good. This one, you never hear anybody. I don't think I've ever heard anybody outside of myself mention it, feature it, anything like that. Admittedly, I don't watch that many people anymore anyway, but.
Sure. Was that just a total whim? You just said, let me go ahead and buy it, and it worked out? So
Steve actually sent this one to me.
Okay.
When he had got some Montales a few years ago, and he's like, "Hey, bro, I think you'll like this one." Sure enough, he was right. I don't wear it enough. I really don't. It's not too sweet and creamy. That ambergris kind of saves it from being that. I still don't think it's the greatest option for summer during the day, but this would be great in the evenings during the summer. Great spring, fall, daytime. It has a little bit of playfulness to it without just smelling like something a 16-year-old would wear, if that makes sense. Like it has a juvenile feel to it, but not really all that youthful at the same time. Like it's not a serious fragrance, more of a fun fragrance that is kind of grounded by the ambergris to where it doesn't veer off too much.
That makes sense. Yeah, it sounds like, ambergris is not really something you see forward in a lot of more juvenile mainstream stuff.
It's very ambergris forward. I'm sure it's a synthetic ambergris, but it's dominant.
Of course. Yeah. That's kind of aromatic, kind of like musky, fresh saltiness. You don't see that a lot, but I'm curious, man.
Engulfing the airspace now that I sprayed it. So that was the last Montale for me.
Wow.
What do you have next for us, sir?
What a marathon. Oh, man, I love it. Yeah.
I tried to get through them as quickly as I could.
You did a great job, man. How many was that?
That was 311.
Okay. Yeah, you did great.
11.
It was great pacing. So my last house is Nishane, and I'm actually in the middle of editing a video. Grace and I have a series on my channel called Best of the House. And basically I just gather all the fragrances I have from a house and I have her smell them blindly. She chooses her favorites. Very simple. So we're doing Nishane. Well, we did it. I'm editing that video. It'll be hilarious and that'll be out probably on Friday. So all these fragrances
are green and vanilla right now, by the way.
So that'll be out on Friday. I have, let me see, just 6 bottles from Nishane. And there will be some.
I think we have about the same because we were kind of torn on who should do Nishane. Because I think we pretty much, outside of maybe one, have the same Nishane collection.
Yeah, it might be the case. It might be the case. I have a ton more decants that I'm not featuring here. Some of the heavies that you guys would expect, stuff like Hachivat, stuff like Solden Vetiver, stuff like Wulong Cha. I don't have bottles of those. So if you guys are going to be in the comments, I
take that back. There's a few that we have different.
Yes.
I have 2 of those 3.
Yeah, so I don't have those. But let me start with what I got. I'm going to go roughly from lightest to darkest.
Okay.
Freshest one I have, I would say, is B612. And I talk about this a ton. I don't know if anyone else talks about it a whole lot, but this is essentially, it's kind of a modern fougere. It's kind of a stripped down contemporary fougere. There's no real spiciness, which you would expect from a fougere, but it is clean lavender. There is a fresh, almost creamy, sweet feel, like that barbershop kind of barbasol feel. But the cypress in here, I think, is really what makes it different. It's a sharp, dry woodiness, almost a little green. And it gives it a lot of character. I think it blends with cashmere or cashmere wood or something.
I think so, yeah.
Kind of cozy feeling in a way. There's a certain texture to it. But overall, it is one of the fresher offerings. Like no frills. It's just kind of simple, but it's also quite different for this type of fragrance. And it performs well for a fresh one too, which no surprise from the house. So this was a love. This was a complete blind buy. It was a suggestion by some of my viewers, and they were right. I'm like, you guys are right. I love this stuff. So I've been talking about it a lot.
That was a Justin Copeland influenced purchase.
That's right. I remember now.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. It's a great easy wear from the house. Maybe a good entry point.
I was about to say it's a good spot to start with the house. It's a safe play.
Agreed. Okay, next this is the newest one in my collection, and to be frank, I am obsessed with this stuff. It was.
If you're going to be frank, can I be Thomas?
You could be whoever you want. I'm going to talk about this. This stuff, I don't know what it is. It is kind of an aphrodisiac for me. It just like there's something about it in the air where I'm like, oh my God. And I smell it all day long. This is called Papilefico.
You've been talking about that one a little bit here and there.
Lately. This stuff is sweeping me up. Me and Grace. She goes crazy for it. She actually wears it too, but it's unisex, but honestly, in my opinion, it leaves a little masculine. Just a hair. Damn. Now, when I first smelled it, the first thing that came to mind was it smells a little bit like Desir Toxic, but fresher. That's a good one. A little bit more mature, if you can imagine. Like put a fougere inside of Desir Toxic from Mikolev, and that is the vibe I get. I know not everyone has smelled.
I'm trying to really wrap my mind around that one because I'm very familiar with Desir Toxic.
So you get that cardamom, that fresh, spicy, slightly sweet cardamom. You do get the oak moss is in here, which is kind of an edgy factor to Desir. It's in here too. But there's a more aromatic quality here. You have lavender in the heart, which I think freshens it up, but it's still pretty rich. There's a resinous sweetness as it dries. It dries again, a little similar to Desir, but I don't even know if I could put a percentage on how similar they are. Ultimately, this is a different personality because of how it behaves. It's kind of sophisticated, but it's also really freaking sexy. So,
well, I think you've talked about it as recently as like 2 days ago, something like that.
Yeah, I put it in
one I need to get my nose on.
It surprised me. I did not expect this. This was a total blind pickup from Fragrance Buy, and I'm like, let's see. It came out last year. I didn't really know the collection very well. And I'm like, whoa, this really surprised me. This is good stuff. I'll be wearing this a lot, mainly for summer evenings. It's pretty strong, not the freshest for a hot day, but it'll work pretty much all year round as long as it's not too hot. So more on that. Next up is one I'm not going to spend a lot of time on. This is one that so many people love, and it's Ani. Got a hefty little dent in this one. Believe it or not, this is mostly Grace.
I can believe it.
Grace knows this fragrance better than I do because she's worn it a ton, and I've smelled it on her a ton too, so I can talk about it too. And I've worn it several times.
It's my favorite from the house.
It is gorgeous. It has a ton of hype, and it's one of those few where it's like hype is warranted. I get it. It kind of checks all the boxes for what it is. It is an ambery vanilla, but there is this nice balance of like a juicy black currant that adds this other dimension to it when you first spray it.
It changes the way the vanilla smells. I find it doesn't have the same appeal. Like it doesn't have the same vanillic aroma as all the other mainstream niche vanillas.
No, again,
it's just a little different.
Doesn't smell like ice cream, doesn't smell like cake, doesn't smell like frosting, doesn't smell like something you want to eat. It is this very intoxicating and alluring vanilla that does so in a more resinous way rather than a gourmand way. And I mean, but that's all I'm going to dissect it. Again, if you guys, most of you have tried it. If you haven't, try it.
If they watch this channel on a regular basis, they've heard me mention it a few times, we'll say.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
It's amazing.
Next one, a little expensive, so I don't recommend a blind buy on this one. Get a sample first. One of the most unique from the house, if you're asking me.
I saw the bottle.
Nefs.
My next Nishane purchase.
Damn.
That bottle has been sprayed on my hand for my flight home. And I was
That's right. This stuff is so captivating. It's so rich. It is like juicy fig drizzled in honey inside of a glass of whiskey. with vanilla and oud and rose kind of like in the mix. And it's just so, it's pretty sweet. You have to like sweet. There is this kind of
But it's not sickening.
no,
It's
no,
not
not
too
at all. Because it's balanced with these darker notes like oud, like other things too. And there's some spices and whatnot. But it has this beautiful, I think, osmanthus, which kind of comes off almost apricot or peach like as well. That adds a different kind of juiciness. It's juicy. It's sticky juicy, but there is a nice, again, kind of darker
thick.
woody quality. It's
It's
so
a
thick. That
thick
honey,
aroma.
it is.
It's so good.
Whew,
It's so
and it's
good.
very strong.
Yeah.
Man, kind of a statement maker, perfectly unisex. Some guys might find it a little feminine, perhaps.
Sorry
but
for you
I
guys.
think it's perfect. Yeah, more for us. Give
Yeah.
us your bottles.
Because I can tell you right now, once I have a bottle and I get to do a few wearings, it's probably going to end up overtaking Ani as my favorite. The only reason it's not my favorite, I think, is because I've only had that one spray, and I was blown away by that one spray.
It is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. I see Joel is asking about Sultan Vetiver. As I mentioned at the start, no Sultan Vetiver, no Hachivat, no Oolong Cha,
No
and
Oolong Cha.
others as well. But I actually have a bottle of that I'm getting probably within the next couple weeks because I have a decant and I've always enjoyed it, but not enough to go out and get the bottle right away. But I had Grace wear the decant the other day and she fell in love with it. She's like, we need a bottle of this. Yes. So now it's gone. So that'll be added very soon. This next one up, second to last, is the first Nishane I ever smelled.
But wait.
Yes.
But is it loin drenching? Darren wants to know.
I would say it's groin gripping. It's groin gripping, but not quite loin drenching. But groins will be gripped. Yeah,
we're halfway there. So, that's enough to buy, right there.
That's enough. You will be gripping groin.
It gets the custom stamp of approval
with no hands. Yes. Yeah. Wow. So this one again, the first one I ever smelled from the house. It's all good. First one from the house. It was basically a blind buy. That's all I can really say about it. And it blew me away. You're not going to be able to tell by the dent in the bottle because it has a ton of juice left and I've had it for like 5 years. But I only spray it every now and then. It is very situational. It's very powerful. So when I do spray it, I don't spray much. And it's Fan Your Flames. You dig this one. I think you got this one.
Oh yeah, my gosh. I got it because of you.
Nothing smells like this, dude.
Nope.
This is like, it's such a unique blend, and it's so well blended.
Great, and I think you would agree with this because it's nothing challenging. It's nothing that's going to overstate. But if you were going on a first date and you're taking her somewhere really nice, I think that's such a great first date to make a strong impression with your presentation and let that be your cherry on top.
Yes. Yes.
I think that's a great fragrance for that.
A solid 3, maybe 4 sprays max.
Yeah. Let her find it. Don't put it in her face. Exactly.
Yeah. And you'll be good to go. This is like kind of smoky. I get almost a hookah feeling. It's weird. There's like this light, sweet smokiness, but it's thickened up by coconut and rum. So there's this almost tropical drink feel. There's tobacco and oak moss in there too.
The coconut darkness, odd addition.
It really is. And it's like, it's kind of the elephant in it, but it just works.
It's like a crystallized coconut sweetness. It's odd. I haven't smelled coconut like that in another fragrance.
It is so beautiful. I think Jorge Lee is the perfumer here. And there's nothing like this. Now I want to try the new X version. I'm super curious about that. So we'll see. I've been going back and forth on getting a discovery set of that new collection. So maybe I will. But this is, again, my first love from the house. First love, again, wear it every now and then. But when I do, it's just freaking fantastic.
Same. I seldom wear it. It's very special. I'm bad about that. If I deem something special, it's not getting much wear.
Yeah.
Because I'm pulling it out because it evokes a certain confidence when you feel that way about a certain fragrance.
Likewise, man. Yeah, exactly. Okay, last one. Admittedly, this is one I have yet to give a full wearing to. I've had it for like a year. I've only ever smelled it from my hand and from paper. I just sprayed it. You see the stain it left?
Wow. Good God. Don't wear that with a white Oxford.
You will have to replace that shirt. This stuff again, I'm still needing to come around to it. The one time I put it on my hand, the first 30 minutes, I was like, no. But after that, it transforms into something really beautiful, very approachable, but you have to get through that dense forest. Grace hates this.
Oof.
Hates this.
Okay.
This is my little 30 mil of Unu Tamam. Let me know if any of you guys have tried this one in the comments.
I haven't.
This is it's weird. I have two ways I can describe it. The simplest way I can describe it, this reminds me of the barbecues at family reunions when I grew up as a kid. It smelled like tri-tip on the grill. That's kind of what I get with some sweetness, like sweet tri-tip, as weird as that
Tri-tip. All right. That's oddly specific.
It is, but with smoke, with a
Down
lot
to
of
the
smoke.
cut. Down to the cut.
but that's not really what it is. This is very animalic. I think there's either castoreum or civet or both. With I can't even tell you every. It is. There is this beautiful sweetness in here that really comes out and it smooths out. The animalic tones kind of quiet down. I can't really describe it that well. Again, I need to truly wear it more. It's not my top recommendation from the house. I have people who've come into my DM saying, hey, man, I'm looking for something really animalic, something challenging, statement making. I'm like, try this. I wouldn't normally say that, but try this one. I'll have to have you try this, man. It is, I can appreciate it. It's a lot to be close to. Again, up on paper like this, I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about it. It's a lot. But I like it. There's something about it that I do like. Just appreciating perfumery, appreciating, unique blends. Like we both love this stuff. So it's like, yeah, there's something about this that I'm like drawn to.
Yeah, because that's probably something I would seldom ever wear, but probably would have a high appreciation. It sounds like something I'd appreciate too.
For sure. This is a hurt so good kind of blend, I would say.
My wife would probably hate it too. If she hates Overture Man, she'd probably hate it.
Grace loves challenging. But this is not the one for her.
Heidi's not big on the challenging.
If she's not about this,
will surprise her. Like Vanilla Oud, not really a challenge, but compared to what she normally likes,
for sure. Anyway, so I need to do it some justice. I need to spray it more. This was actually a gift from a subscriber, and I accepted it. And I'm like, he said, hey, you want this? I'm like, sure, because I was like, more Nishane, and I'm like,
why not? Nishane.
Okay, this is great. Thanks.
So Dapper Daddy said tri-tip is his specialty. Let him know when, and he'll treat you and Grace.
I will take you up on that. Oh yes. Okay. That's it for me, Nishane. That's it for me. Period. So.
All right. So I'll try to get through these quickly because this is the largest portion of the video. This is 20 Manceras.
Oh my goodness.
That's why I have Mancera and Montale in here because I just have so many fragrances for them. So I'll try to go through quickly. None of my wife's Manceras or Montales are in here, by the way. Because in the household, we have more than what's featured here in this live stream.
Okay.
She's a fan too.
Her own. Yeah.
She has her own bottle of this, actually. Black vanilla. Not for everyone. Very feminine. White peach jasmine at the top is very, very girly.
You can expect from that.
But if you can give this one a few minutes and let that black currant creep in and take some of the edge off of that femininity, this is gorgeous. Crazy strong. The same series as Red Tobacco, as you can tell by the bottle. Red Tobacco Performance. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
2 to 3 sprays.
Wow.
Unless you want everybody to say, who's that that girl smells pretty. Where's she at? Because that's what I don't wear it often. You got to be in the mood for dominant jasmine.
Yes.
But it is so gorgeous if you give it a few. It's that white peach combo with the jasmine at the top. It's just too playfully girly for me.
Yeah.
Like spray it, wait 30 minutes, then leave the house.
Okay.
That's pretty much what it is for me. Because it gets beautiful about 30 minutes in. Because you're getting till you take a shower, it's radiating off your skin. This is, like I said, it's Mancera Red Tobacco type of performance. I don't know if the whole line's like that or what, but I got 2 out of this line. They're both ridiculous.
Jeez.
But yeah, this one's it's probably my least worn for that reason. It was a blind buy. Now, one that I haven't visited in a while that's just so good. It smells like roasting marshmallows by a fire. It's Oud Vanille.
Yes.
This is such a gorgeous fragrance. Shame on me for not wearing it more. I've done a full review years ago. It's the downside to having so many fragrances, you know. The oud here doesn't offer too much of a funk. It's very grounded by the vanilla. There's a smokiness to it, like a resinous smoky tone. Another one, great performer, as you would expect with most of these. One that I would say when it comes to ouds, this is very wearable because it's so creamy sweet at the same time. Creamy, smoky, sweet. Probably the best way I could describe it. Do you have any experience with this?
Sounds really good. No, not at all. Sounds great.
Lovely. This is one of the better ones, one of the more timeless from the house. If you look at the house as a whole and all of the offerings they've put out, this is one that I think kind of stands the test of time of kind of the redundant overlap that some of them can offer. I haven't really come across another one that smells similar to this from Mancera. I think this one kind of stands alone.
Nice.
Then I know that you have experience with this one. This is one of the hype beasts. This is Oud Lemon Mint.
Yeah, I got
Big
that
time
one.
hype beast. The least minty mint named fragrance I have.
Yeah. I had to come back around to it. I didn't love it years ago, but I really enjoy it now.
Immensely powerful. Another 4-sprayer because it's just so creamy. This is a creamy lemon wood with bitter almond is probably the most simplistic way I can describe it. The bottle will mislead you. The name will mislead you. This is not the most summer appropriate of fragrances. Spring and fall, stunning fragrance for the spring and fall. High heat, do what you want. I wouldn't encourage it.
Yeah, I would wait for the evening.
It's just so immensely creamy.
Yeah, I would do a nighttime with that one in the summer at best.
Yeah, at best. Summertime evening, sure, it'd be fine for that.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be indoors most likely anyway. But this is kind of, from what I've seen with feedback on the internet, one of the all-time greats from the house when it comes to attention.
Yeah.
It's a very attractive scent profile for sure.
Yeah. I've worn it a couple times and I've had at least a couple people saying like, oh man, yeah, that's really nice. What is that
so
scent?
Unique.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of the caveats for it. It is a unique scent profile. Never had anything else. 1,000+ fragrances. Smelled probably 2,000 more on top of that. Never smelled anything like it.
No.
Very unique fragrance.
Unique.
There's a reason it gets a lot of love because it's special. It is a special fragrance.
Agreed.
Now this next one, very similar to Precious Oud. If you take the booze away, you get Crazy Oud. This is one of those fragrances that the overlap happens. This is Precious Oud minus the booze. So it's got that tiramisu dessert-like type of smell. Very dessert cake mixed with oud. So it's basically a gourmand oud is how you can look at it. Did a full review on this one a few years ago. Another one crazy strong. Don't need but 3 or 4 sprays and everybody's going to smell you in the area anyway. Not a challenging oud because there's so much sweetness to this one. Like I said, very gourmand. It could be feminine leaning for those that treat sweet fragrances as just too feminine or those are for women. Yeah, it's going to be that for you if that's how you feel about sweet because it is very, like I said, dessert-like gourmand sweet.
Yeah. It sounds like maybe a little bit. Would you say it's kind of unique or not really? It sounds like
not so much.
Okay.
It's almost like picture Salvatore Ferragamo's Uomo with oud.
Okay.
Like tiramisu cake-like coffee cake dessert plus oud.
Got it. Okay.
And not so much on the coffee, but that cake tiramisu smell.
Yeah.
Plus oud. It's kind of like niche version of that. It's kind of how you look at it. And way stronger. Which that one's no slouch, but this is way stronger. Now, this is one of the more challenging fragrances I own that I just have such an affinity and appreciation for. And when I say challenging, some of you that tried it are going to say, oh, no, that's not that challenging, yada, yada, so on and so forth. I don't wear the crazy fecal ouds. Sorry. So this is Mancera, the oud.
Oh, I don't know this one.
Oh, this is kind of biblical right here.
Wow.
Woo. This one's a little on the stinky side.
I mean, quite a name. The oud.
This is the oud. It's very funky. This is crazy, crazy strong. This is one of the strongest fragrances I have. Of course, there's rose, there's patchouli, there's earthy tones, but it's dominated. It's an oud rose at its core, but it's dominated more so by the oud.
Okay.
It's magical. It's immensely Middle Eastern. It's magical. I can see a lot of people not wanting to give this one the time of day. This is not a mass appealing oud in any way, shape, or form. Definitely very polarizing. One of the worst blind buys I could imagine someone making. I picked this up for a great price from somebody in my old Facebook group. He was selling for like $50, and I was like, you know what? I'll roll the dice for $50. Screw it.
Yes.
And the first time I smelled it, I was like, "Ooh, okay, is this going to be for me?" And I gave it a full wearing, and I just have this immense appreciation for it because I don't have another oud that smells quite like this one. There's elements of other oud roses here, but it's just so dominant with whatever the oil is that he typically uses in his fragrance. It's like a high percentage of it in the formula. It's dominant. It's, as it says, the oud, it is mostly whatever this oud oil is, which I know some will say it's a synthetic oud. I don't know exactly what Pierre Montale uses, but it's on the funky side. It's on the funky side.
Well, the name has got my interest.
Yeah. Now, sadly, because when I got this, it had a little leak in the atomizer back when I lived in Texas. And then when I moved here, I guess the pressure when I went up in elevation made it leak more and kind of screwed the label up. You see all the bubbling in the label?
Yeah.
It's red tobacco. One thing the leak has done is evaporate some of that alcohol. So my red tobacco is stronger than all the rest of your red tobaccos.
Wow.
Yeah. Whew. God, it's strong just coming out the atomizer.
Just
Because there's a
oils
leak by the threading somewhere. Just the most minor of leaks, because it leaked when I first opened it. And then like I literally, when wiping it off, I don't know how well the camera is going to pick this up. Let me see if I can get it to focus first. But see how that looks kind of like fingerprints, right? That's not. That's for me wiping it with a towel.
Oh, wow.
It actually like ripped off some of the paint to the glass.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So most of the alcohol has left this bottle. More of it on the side. It rippled up the label. So that's what I say. There's not a whole lot. Like there's still alcohol in there, obviously, but a lot of it has evaporated to kind of shift the percentage to where whatever the initial oil percentage was, I think it's slightly higher now because it's much, much thicker than it used to be because of it leaking and having that slight air leak. Now, I would think this would spoil faster, but because it's not citruses and stuff like it, it's very heavy notes. I don't think I'll ever really have any problem with it turning long term.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I don't think I have to worry about that. Even with the slight air leak that it has, I don't think I need to worry about it. But I mean, I had to explain that because people are like, oh, what happened to your label? For those that haven't heard me speak on it. But this one speaks for itself. Pungent, ridiculously nuclear powerful, smoky, very, very rich, sweet tobacco, almost a little boozy like. I don't even think there's booze in the nose, but it has kind of a boozy quality to it. Rich and robust. One of the like pillars of hype in the fragrance community when you're looking for performance. Highly complimented for what it is too. My mom, huge fan of this one. Huge. Wow. I wore it one Christmas and she kept following me around. I was like, why are you? She's like, well, you just smell so good. I just want to keep smelling you. So, yeah.
Nice.
Good stuff. I'll never forget that. That was like 3 Christmases ago.
That's cool.
Now, one I know you're a big fan of, Instant Crush.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
If Baccarat Rouge was more of a white floral, here you go.
Yes, creamier and a little bit thicker and totally.
Still get that burnt sugar smell.
When that came out, I got a bottle. I think I can't remember who sent it to me. It may have been Euro Perfumes. Sent me a bottle. When it came out, little did I know they sent it to maybe 5 or 6 other people. And little did I know we were all putting out our videos on the same day. So it was a total shitstorm. I remember like just there was so much backlash that day from the audience, like, oh, you guys are just shills for Mancera and blah, blah, blah,
God
blah.
forbid you like a fragrance.
Yes, exactly. So time has gone by and the fragrance has withstood all of that. All the storm, the dust has settled. People are still talking about it because it's very good. We were not lying, guys.
You know it's popular when it gets cloned. There's a lot of clones of this fragrance.
Yes.
Which it's technically a clone in itself. Because it very much has Baccarat Rouge's DNA.
Which is so crazy. Clones of a clone. And it's just like... Yes, so weird.
It's riddled with that burnt sugar smell. It's just heavier on the jasmine and the amber wood.
Exactly.
Than Baccarat Rouge is.
Yeah, it's
great though. Stuff. Another one's super strong, very feminine. For guys that don't like feminine leaning fragrances, steer clear because it's got a lot of jasmine.
It does. It's probably
more
Grace's
feminine
favorite.
than Baccarat Rouge.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
Way more.
Yeah.
but it's also amazing. And
It
speaking of
is.
amazing, I love raving about Tonka Cola. I'm a big fan of this one. One of the newer
And
releases.
someone had just asked about it.
Oh yeah, it was definitely coming. So,
I still
and
have to
funny
try
thing,
it.
I addressed this when we talked about Carlisle earlier. I don't find it smells that much like red tobacco.
Hmm.
I just don't.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's more
Different
about patchouli
personality.
and sweetness, whereas red tobacco is more about smoke and tobacco,
Agreed.
oud, stuff like that. So with this beautiful spiced cherry note at the top, sweet powdery tonka bean, this cola note because of the spice, it's kind of like imagine a flat cherry Coke, but then this spice kind of gives almost an illusion of the carbonation because there's so much bright, uplifting spiciness in this fragrance. I don't know if you've tried this one. Are you familiar with this?
I haven't, but I can totally imagine how you're describing it.
I'm
Sounds amazing.
so happy to have this fragrance because immediately before it came out, of course, everybody's immediately saying, "Oh, Enigma, Creation E." Maybe that
Mm,
much. Maybe that
okay.
much. It's not the same fragrance because they saw cola, they immediately thought of that. And
Mm,
this is phenomenal. I encourage as many of you as possible to get a sample of this. I
mm.
still wouldn't call it blind buy safe. I get great performance out of this one. I've sprayed it much heavier than I needed to when I was in Chicago. I wore like 7 or 8 sprays because I was in a crowd of 35 fragrance lovers. You got to spray a little heavier in those
Mm-hmm.
situations. And it was a conversation with a few people. Shout out, you know who you are if you happen to be
Mm.
watching this. They smelled me immediately when I walked up. And we're talking about a large group of fragrance enthusiasts. Smelled
So,
me from
a
7 or 8
smelly
sprays.
room. Smelly room.
Yeah, yeah. In the lobby in the DoubleTree, this is where this took place. You know
Oh
where I'm
my
talking about.
gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah. You guys
by the little
peeled paint
sofas
off the
right there on the
walls,
side.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is really strong. Don't let anybody talk you out of this one, guys. Get a sample and try this one. I think this is one of the better. This is top 5 Mancera for me. Of the 20 I have, top 5.
Hmm.
Love it. Love it. Love
Wow.
it. Love it. Big fan. I need to get you to try this. If you haven't tried it by the next time I see you, I need to remember bringing it.
I'm gonna put it on my list here.
And with that, I guess we'll do a double take on these. This is Drapwise
Hey,
820.
yep. I
Yeah.
got both of those.
Might as well
Double
do a
take.
double take.
Yes. 2 for 1.
So if you want more performance, you want the intense. It's stronger. It's a 40% concentration. You will go nose blind to this.
Mm.
Anybody you've seen on the internet type that it's weak and we're all full of shit, they just can't smell it because it's
Yep.
in 30 minutes. I can't smell it either until hours later when my nose comes back to life and then it smells like I just sprayed it. This is
Exactly.
crazy, crazy powerful, guys. It's more warm, spicy, and animalic versus the original. The original is, you don't realize how fresh this is until you smell the intense version.
Yes.
This is fresh, fruity citrus at the top. Wicker basket full of fruits, as I've said many times on this channel, that dry, woody smell. I don't really get much of the leather here. Here, you get the leather. You get plenty of the leather. There's a little bit of a sweet Cambodian oud. You get the sharp lemon as versus the fresh lemon that's in this one. And it's not as sweet. It's more warm and spicy overall. But these redundant to have both, sure. But when you love the DNA as much as I do, I would never have it another way. I'm glad I have it.
Yeah, man. No, they're both great. Yeah, they are. And yeah, they're based on the same DNA, of course, but kind of different functions for sure.
I agree. Because where I would
Yeah.
wear more daytime, warmer weather for the original, I think cooler weather and evenings out, the intense will shine much brighter.
Yep, for sure.
Next, we have what I deem to be underappreciated and almost hidden gem-like from the house. I did a video on it not that long ago. This is Oud Blue Notes. So with Oud Blue Notes, this is very fruity, iris dominant fragrance. It's an orris butter that's very creamy. It's powdery, sure, but it's a creamy orris butter. The top on this one is almost to die for. It's so good. It's a fruity floral that doesn't lean super feminine. It's not the kind of fruity florals that my wife enjoys. It's the kind of fruity florals that I enjoy. Nice woody backbone to kind of center and ground the aroma to kind of, I guess, veer it away from being too iris heavy. It's weird the way it worked out because, like I said, you get the powderiness from it that you would expect from an orris root, but it's also very creamy at the same time. I'm sure there's other notes attributing to it being creamy, but Another great performer, 8 to 10 hours. It's not some nuclear beast like the rest. Now, admittedly, this is one that I can get tired for as much as I love it. After about 5 or 6 hours, I'm kind of tired of it. I kind of wish it was a little bit weaker than it actually is. This is one of those fragrances for me where I love the scent profile, but eventually that creaminess and that creamy powdery combo, it just gets old after a while. I get tired of smelling it because the sillage on it is stronger than you may think. And I'm never at a moment where my nose wears out to it. So I smell it literally every minute that it's on my skin for hours and hours and hours. It never goes away or kind of fades to the background. And this is even with spraying the sides and back of my neck and nowhere in the front. It's one of those where it's strong enough to stay very present under my nose, but also, I guess with the oils used, my nose never adjusts to it. And it's just nonstop strength, hours and hours. That's why I get tired of it. It's beautiful. It's just too much. My nose never adjusts to this particular fragrance.
That sounds like a version of what could be like fragrance hell or something, where
kind of
you have some beast mode scent that actually smells nice, but you can never stop smelling it at every waking moment.
Like I want to get whiffs to remind me you're there. I don't want it to be my whole day nonstop. Just that's all I smell.
Yeah,
that gets old. After 2 hours,
exactly.
I'm over that. Imagine 5, 6, 7 hours in, and it's still like that. It's miserable. It makes a fragrance miserable. For as lovely as it is, it's unfortunate. You know, I'd prefer my nose to go blind at some point on that.
I agree. Yeah, yeah, totally.
So this was a purchase based off of the excitement that my man EQ had for this fragrance. This is Soleil d'Italie or d'Italie, however you like to say it. Very bright, fresh. This is kind of my main recommendation for a freshie from the house.
Okay.
Because I do have several recent pickups that are freshies from the house. I saved those for last because they're the newest to my collection. But this one, big fan. Bright, watery, and airy. Full of citrus, oceanic without being too saltwater marine. I kind of put this in the same vibe as something like Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue. Without the incense and the pepper, but kind of just the overall vibe and breeziness of the scent. That's kind of where this falls for me. 8 hours easy on skin, but it's always airy. It's never a heavy smell. And I really appreciate that. This is when you don't want a fragrance to overwhelm you and kind of give you that vibe of the ocean breeze without the salt. That's pretty much what I get from this. All right. And next, I've raved about this one countless times. Big fan. This is Wave Musk.
Okay.
Yes. As the name would indicate, it's watery, it's aquatic, it's clean and musky. But at the top, you're going to get a juicy grapefruit and fresh cut grass. That's going to be one of the caveats to this one.
Okay.
This was my main fresh recommendation from them until I got Soleil d'Italie, which this is now like number 2, I guess you could say. Because it's on the unique side because it encompasses a very green DNA with a very light blue DNA kind of combined into one. It sounds like it may not work that well, but it's actually lovely. It makes for a unique aroma. I haven't smelled another freshie that smells like Wave Musk. This is one of the more under the radar fragrances from the house.
Yeah, I don't think I had heard about it until you brought it up.
Yeah, I did a review a couple of years ago on it.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I actually had meant to do it. I had meant to do it a few years prior to when I actually did it. I forgot to do it. I've had this for 3-4 years, something like that.
Wow.
It's good stuff, though. Wave Musk. Trying to blaze through it, guys, because we still got a few left. Another one that I'm blaming on EQ. This is Vetiver Sensual.
I've heard so many things about it just recently.
This is so good. I got this for $44, this 60 ml.
Where?
Fragrance Buy had them for $44, and I encouraged everybody when I got it. I was like, if you want it cheap, 60 ml is a lot for this fragrance. I promise. Now they don't have the 4 ounces for 81, which still solid, but I mean, $44 for 60 ml was the way to go. So this is kind of a lot of people have related it to Eau Givre. If you look at the comparison, this doesn't have the level of freshness as Eau Givre.
I believe that.
This is much more fruity fresh, but a similar woodsy, earthy vetiver smell in the dry downs, I guess, is where the comparison's most relatable because they do have a similar dry down, with this being thicker, obviously, and that being more airy. I feel like this is more of an everyday signature scent wear through the seasons, whereas Eau Givre that's summer. That's as summer as it gets.
Totally.
You know.
Yeah.
So if you like that, but want something that's better of your use for every day, I think Vetiver Sensuel would be the way to go for you guys. That's a good stuff.
I can't tell you how many comments I've seen on my channel just in the past week or
great.
two asking me, hey, you smell that? You smell this? You smell? I'm like,
This
I need
is
to get
full
me a
of hype
bottle of
this
this.
year. Full of hype this year. It's not a brand new release, but it's one of the, in the last 2 years or so, it's came out. It's getting a lot of love lately because it's pretty affordable at the discounters now, and it's so mega versatile, and it's just fresh. It's enjoyable. There's nothing earthy and challenging about the Vetiver. And then as soon as people hear the Eau Givray comparison, they're like, ooh. Everybody, who doesn't love Eau Givray? Anybody watching, if you don't like Terre d'Hermes Eau Givray, it's you. I'm just going to say it, man. It's you.
Wow.
So here's one that's pretty polarizing, and I totally get it. You got to like fresh rose to like Mancera So Blue. I wore this one the other day. Dry down's beautiful. It's basically a fresh, watery Turkish rose and a ton of citruses. It dries down into a powdery floral tone with a clean musk and a soft wood, just a light soft wood in the back. But the opening is it's rose. A lot of rose. You got to get through that if you're not a fan of rose. But if you like rose, like I do, it's beautiful.
Nice.
Very feminine leaning because of it.
Okay.
But this is gorgeous. I don't know how this hasn't gotten more. I don't think it deserves hype beast kind of love, but I would think this would get a little more mention than it actually does. It's been around for years now. Came in the 2010s.
I haven't smelled it. Wow. Yeah,
sometime in the teens. I don't remember. This was a blind buy. I saw the notes. I'd been wanting to get it since, I don't know, probably 2019. I've been wanting to get it for a while. And I finally just pulled the trigger. I've been buying up more summer-oriented Manceras as of late. This was on the bucket list for a long time. Pulled the trigger. It's one of the first ones I started wearing because when I sprayed on the first impressions, I was like, ooh, yeah, this is better than I could have hoped for. So watery rose, loads of citrus, soft, powdery, woody dry down. It's beautiful, and it's powerful, but it's not absurdly, obnoxiously powerful. The opening's really strong, but it settles in really well.
Cool.
Trying to get through them, Justin. We got 5.
I know.
French Riviera. Guys, I'm a big fan of this one. EQ's, I know he's been talking about this one lately. This deserves praise. Now, it's not going to blow a lot of people away. What it will do is give the vibe of a casual warm weather day, spring, summer, early fall, wherever you live. Picture white floppy flowers, the Tailleur flower notes, big floppy white flowers. It's a little on the creamy side, more so than the powdery side. There's a little bit of powder here, just a little bit. Not like So Blue, where that's a powdery rose. This big floppy, almost fleshy, creamy type of white floral tone with a bunch of citrus and a nice fresh water accord. And I don't really get much musk here, but I do get a nice woody tone as it dries with that big floppy white. I like saying big floppy white flowers because every time, like the big petals that are flopping in the wind, you know, that's this fragrance. This is a very, if there's such a thing as a luxurious casual smell, this.
I got to try it. Yeah, you piqued my interest the other day when we talked about it.
We were on the phone talking, and he was like, "You got that one recently," and I went to trying to sell Justin on it. you need to try
the trench coat. Hey, young fella,
I got these Manceras, right? 2 for 1. You know?
Yes,
but this is great, guys. I still don't think any of them are really all that blind buy safe for as casual of a scent as this is. But when it comes to light blues, this is really good. It's not going to blow. Like I said, it's not going to be mind blowing for anyone. But if you're just looking for that new addition for your summer wardrobe, that's not going to be exactly like everything else and has a laid back vibe to it, I think this would be a good pickup for a lot of people this summer.
Okay.
One of the greatest lemon smells I've ever had. Lemon lime. Just got it recently. Sharp, sharp, sharp lemon.
Wow. Is there much sweetness in there?
Not really. A little bit.
I'm glad.
It's a little bit of a candied lemon as it settles in, but not much. It's like a fresh, like cutting into a lemon, that zest, that sharpness, right when you cut the lemon and you get the smell of the juice. That's the opening here. I had tried this one at Nathan's house when I had went by and we were filming some content. when I was giving him the rundown on the stuff to do for the Z Creators adverts that he was making for us. He had a 60 ml, sprayed on my hand, fell in love. Had Heidi smell the dry down when I got home a few hours later.
Yeah.
She fell in love. So
wow.
when it came time for me to this round of buying fragrances.
Yeah.
Had to get it. Creamy wood as it dries, not real complex, not a deep fragrance, very straightforward. But if you like lemon, this is kind of a must for you then if you like lemon. This is one of the best lemon fragrances I've ever put on my nose. Sharp, so sharp. Good performance too. 8 hours range. Not crazy strong, but not weak.
That one's been on my list for a minute, and I was afraid it might be a little too candied, but hearing you say that,
it's a little bit. It's more sharp than anything else.
Cool.
It's very zest type of sharp, almost astringent. Actually, yeah, a little astringent. Honestly,
I dig it.
Now I know you're a fan of this one.
Oh, it's
we have
beautiful
Sicily.
Stuff. Beautiful
this
stuff.
Is gorgeous. If you are okay with florals, guys, this is a must from the house.
Yeah, like juicy yellow florals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful, like it's fitting. The gold and the yellow and all that. That's the vibe of the aroma too. Loads of citrus, a variety, a smorgasbord of citrus, yellow florals, a little bit of white florals, soft woods. It's a little aquatic, but not all that heavy on the oceanic feel. I think it's more so because of the juiciness of all the citrus oils that they used. This is as close as it gets for a fresh masterpiece from the house. I would give this one that kind of praise. Not everybody's going to like it, though. That's the thing. Yeah. You have to be cool with the florals. Like Justin said, specifically, juicy yellow florals. If you're not into lang-a-lang and stuff like that, you're not going to enjoy this fragrance. But if you do appreciate that in a fragrance, this is one of the best they've ever put out. Not just Mancera. I just mean in general. For that style, it's one of the best I've ever smelled.
It is a standout.
Yeah.
It is a standout,
powerful,
truly. Yeah.
For what it is, it's very powerful.
No slouch.
Now, if you like the smell of lemon pound cake and lemon bars, you'll like Fabulous Yuzu.
That's
more vanilla, much more vanilla than I anticipated. It's great. I don't think it's the best choice for a hot summer's day, though. Out that night, absolutely. Work time fragrance, a little more playful than you may want for work, but if you like gourmands, that might be your thing, because this is more of a gourmand fragrance than I think it gets touted to be. Because it's so vanilla dominant. It's very juicy, mouth-watering type of yuzu lemon type of feel at the top, but it settles into this lemon bar cake-like dessert feel because of the way it comes across with the vanilla. It's beautiful. Not saying it in a negative way, just kind of a fair warning kind of thing if you go into this thinking, oh yeah, I live in Houston and this is going to be perfect for my summer. No, it will not be. No, it will not be. So this is definitely try before you buy, unless you have the full understanding of what you're going into. Even then, you still should probably try it.
It'd be a walking lemon cake out there in the humidity.
Look, it smells delicious. I love lemon bars, lemon pound cake, the lemon bread slices and stuff like with the little bit of icing on top. Like, I love all that. That's all great. It smells like that. But as far as a high heat fragrance, be wary. I wouldn't recommend for the high heat. Smells amazing though. It's a great fragrance. And then last but not least, I think one of the more versatile freshies from the house that could be pulled off every day is Melody of the Sun.
Oh, you were telling me about that one.
Yeah,
big
fan of this one. This one's much more based around woods. That reason Justin says that in that same phone call, I was telling him he would like this because he likes woody dominant fragrances. Maybe it's my skin, but I get a lot of woods from this. It kind of overtakes it. Still very fresh, citrus, oceanic feel, but very grounded by the woods. The woods kind of stay in the forefront for me the entire time. 8 to 10 hours is what I've been experiencing with it so far. This one's underappreciated. I don't really hear anybody talk about this one. This one might be a welcomed addition for a lot of people's collections this summer, but it's not just something that you'll only want to wear in the summer, I think. I think this is a good warm climate year-round. Year-round, for sure. If you're here in the States, you're on the Gulf Coast, this can be your signature scent. It's going to be something that's super enjoyable, charismatic, likable for those around you. You'll be able to wear it with anything, and your wearing experience should be. I can't imagine people really not liking this one. This is easy to like fragrance for sure.
Gotta try.
That is the last fragrance. Mancera Melody of the Sun. I tried to blaze through the Manceras as best I could.
Hey, man, quite a feat. 20 bottles.
Yeah, that was 20
That's
bottles.
incredible. What is the total count here for our
68 bottles.
68 bottles, guys?
We had 84 for the designer take.
Yes. Who else is putting 50 plus bottles in a live stream out here, guys? In a joint live
Hey, and
stream.
we did it. It would have worked out to about the same. How long was the last stream? Like 2 hours and 40 minutes?
It was just shy of 2.5. The last one, like 2:20 something.
2 hours 10 minutes. So
yeah.
Similar pace, actually.
Yeah. We played around with some time, but pacing was decent. So hey guys, there you go.
I appreciate the crowd. We did a little over 200 in the peak. We've hovered, like right now, we're still 170. We've got 250. We got way more likes than we do viewers. 254 likes. I might even need to refresh. It might be more than that. I appreciate the super chats. I appreciate your time with us, because I knew this was going to be a long live stream. Justin, I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man and it's hard to schedule you for things.
No, my pleasure, man. Happy to be here. This was fun. And thank you. Yeah. Thank you guys all for hanging out with us. Those of you who were here the whole time,
that's dedication right there.
Yeah. Thank you. And even if you jumped in late, I saw Sandy jumped in like a minute ago. Thank you all for being here. This was great little showcase.
Yeah, seriously, because this is a little different. That we kind of, not going to say we pioneered this, but we haven't really seen it. I haven't really seen anybody else doing this in a stream. So it was nice to do the first time. And then we asked you guys then, hey, if you want to see the niche take, let us know in the comments. And I know there was a bunch of comments about, hey, I want to see the niche version. So here you go.
People showed up. So did we.
Jared, I appreciate the $5 super sticker. Thank you, sir. Top 5. I'm actually going to be doing that video probably in the next week or two. So stay tuned, Ben. I will be.
There you go, Ben. Hang on tight. Hit that bell.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely hit that bell and make sure you're clearly subscribed. That's why you're in the live chat. But guys, I appreciate all of you being here. Seriously, once again, Justin, thank you for being here. Any final thoughts before we go, sir?
Not really. I mean, we got a lot of exciting content coming up as summer starts rolling in. I'm really in summer fragrance mode. I know you are too. Obviously, this Mancera haul shows it. Thank you guys for your support. We look forward to seeing you guys in the future comment sections on our videos.
Absolutely. And on that note, guys, have a good one. We'll catch you on the next one.
Later.
Subscribe to Justin Copeland if for some reason you're crazy and you haven't yet.
There's plenty of space. Come on in, guys.